I almost said like father, like son, which wouldn't make any sense in this context. Anyway, we're just waiting for Arena to start, and then we'll be right on the ladder with some Temur Clover. Went undefeated with the deck last night, and then I played a few more matches after the stream and won all of those. Deck's been treating me well. Feel like it's still a real thing. Reclamation worries me as always. Mono green worries me a little bit. On the whole, though, pretty confident in this pile of red, green, and blue cards that have changed my life in so many ways. And that's the opening monologue. It seems like Arena's now ready. Great. Let's ladder. Ooh, I feel like I'm getting a lot of basic land only hands lately. If I draw green or blue mana, I have a play for turn 2. And if I hit any land in the next 2 draw steps, I get to Beanstalk Giant. So basically a perfectly functional hand, but has some chance of just going completely wrong. I think I mull this. That's much better. Okay. So I think I keep this. I'm going to dump Fae of Wishes. I guess with Growth Spiral, I have a chance to just cast Escape the Wilds on turn 4. Maybe I throw away either Growth Spiral or Beanstalk Giant. Let's make it Beanstalk Giant. Hey, Weed Magic, great to see ya. Got some tricky hands early, but I guess that's better as a learning experience. Threw away Beanstalk Giant because Growth Spiral gives me the option to possibly cast Escape the Wilds on turn 4, depending on when the lands are on top of my deck. And I just need to find some action pretty quick here. So, yep. This lines up well. Spiral into... Ooh, alright. I'm just going to jam Innkeeper here. Don't want to risk getting Innkeeper countered, or if this is blue-green flash or something. And most decks will not have a way to kill Innkeeper on 2 if this is a Thought Erasure. I'm also glad I played an Innkeeper there. Sultai is not what I ever really want to see, but this hand is okay into Sultai. Question is, what do I do now? Basically, want to play one of these 2 creatures. The problem with playing Lovestruck Beast is if they kill Innkeeper, I'm sad. But I think I just go Bone Crusher here. I'm not going to have very many stomp targets against Sultai Ramp. And this opens me up to go like Lovestruck plus token if my opponent casts Ritual of Soot next turn or something like that.
Cultivate.
It's Cultivate. Well, that's fine. It's not going to do a ton to suppress what's looking like a pretty aggressive draw here. Opponent has Casualties of War open next turn, of course, but if I play Lovestruck plus token this turn, put him to 12 off attacks, and a Casualties of War by itself really doesn't do that much to resolve the situation for them. If I had 1 more mana, I'd be interested in maybe just Fae Wishing for a counterspell. But given that I don't, I'm just going to go for token, Lovestruck, and I'm not playing this land yet in case I had a Temple off of this draw. Okay, so if all they have is Casualties of War next turn, I can then do the... Well, I'm going to lose a land, so I won't be able to do Fae Wishes for anything, but this is a lot of aggro. They're going to need a sweeper. Even a Hydroid Krasis really doesn't help them very much. That was definitely the opponent hovering over my lands, getting ready to cast Casualties. Let's see what's dying. Oh, Extinction Event. Beautiful. Alright, well that is a good sweeper. It does open me up for Fae and a counterspell, but I don't know that that's going to be powerful enough. I may need to just Fey for something more significant, hold Brazen Borrower. I think that's going to be the plan. If they can counter Fey with a Mystical Dispute, I'll be really sad, but not all I can do here. Mulliganed. Was left with a relative lack of choices. Great, that resolved, so pick up Escape the Wilds. There's really nothing else to do in this kind of position. We'll hold the bounce over casting Fey Wishes. The 1/4 flyer is not going to do much, and bouncing Anissa could take a lot of pressure off me next turn. As long as I can resolve this Escape the Wilds and it doesn't get thought erasured, then we're looking at a pretty good game. Alright, Krasis is fine. Question is, do I bounce that? I don't know that I do here. I'm at 18 life. I think I'm a no on bouncing Krasis. Next turn could be the opponent's Ugin turn, and I'd much rather bounce an Ugin. Alright, well, that was an unspectacular batch of magic cards we hit. No clovers yet. Could really use some clovers. I'd even rather have a land next turn than another Bone Crusher, but as far as like number of cards, we're still holding up. Really need some more clovers and escapes to really get things going. We haven't had like a big mana draw, and if I'm trading spell for spell with this deck when we both have 8 lands, it's not going to go well for clover. Here's the Nissa. So in response to Nissa untapping a land, I can bounce Nissa, which mildly limits the amount of mana the opponent can get. The opponent can, of course, just recast Nissa. That part's not great. Really use that clover. We have Fey of Wishes for Storm's Wrath next turn, but don't know that that's going to help much. So if I bounce Nissa now, the opponent's effectively down 1 mana, but they can just recast Nissa. But if they recast Nissa, they might be walking right into a Storm's Wrath. So I'm kind of interested in still doing this. If they play a 5/5 Krasis, I'll be sad. But I'm really hoping this baits them into just casting Nissa again, untapping another land, and then I kill a couple of their lands with Storm's Wrath, and we're maybe back to something approaching parity. Yeah, Sultai is so much better than Bant. Every time I see somebody play Sultai Ramp, I'm like, geez. Sure was unkind of you not to play Bant Ramp. Why not just play Teferi in your deck instead of friggin' Casualties of War and Extinction Event? And opponent could obviously be holding up Ether Gust, in which case we're super dead. Nope. Alright, it's Uro, which, if I do just Storm's Wrath and make color stuff, they just get to play Uro next turn, so it's still not looking good. Yeah, if Red was untapped, I had to choose between basically casting Escape to the Wilds and trying to hold mana up or not. I decided to try and hold up 2 mana off Escape. So is there any way I win if I let them untap with this Nissa? I can bounce it. I can go like, no, if they untap with Nissa and I don't have creatures out, I die. They can also they can't get her out of the yard yet. So maybe as far as actually winning the game goes, the more realistic plan is trying to get rid of Nissa, have them recast her, and then Storm's Wrath even harder, and just stall and try to draw another escape. Or at least cast Beanstalk Giant to contain Uro. Very funny, Weed, very funny. Hey, Tacitus, thanks for the subscription. Looks like our first-time subscriber, too. Alright, let's... Yeah, I'm kind of into the bounce Nissa, try to win by doing that plan. I do not think this is going to work, but I don't think any plans were really going to work super well here. So, goodbye, Nissa. This means I lose the ability to wish for a Storm's Wrath as well, so that part's not great. But we could still hit the Miracle Escape the Wilds off the top, or another Fey of Wishes for a Storm's Wrath. Very much a plain and not lose game here. When as Ugin, they can take me to 3. Hey, Begana, thanks for Happy 4th. Should really close this window. Give me 1 second. All right. Cultivate also just an incredibly strong card here. It's like when one deck is playing Teferi on turn 3 and the other deck is playing Cultivate on turn 3, I can tell you which deck Temur Clover fears much more.
We need to become Aaron Girdler tonight.
Glad you like the stream,
That's the goal.
Testis. That is exactly what I'm aiming for here, and I'm glad it's working for you. Oni Zignim, person with unpronounceable name, thanks for subscribing. Super good to have you here. All right, so here comes all the squad. I do need to block a couple times here. Guess I want to keep Fae of Wishes alive. Eat a... No, if I'm blocking to kill something, it should be blocking to kill the forest. Go to a nice clean 2 life. Yeah, I'm sure Bant is much better in
Aaron
Reclamation.
Girdler tonight, chat. That's the goal.
And I hope it stays extra popular, because Sultai Ramp is a gosh darn nightmare. Mostly it's just surviving Nissa, though. The Extinction event clearing the way for Nissa to come down was really bad. You usually can't really beat this deck if they get active Nissa out. In fact, Uro coming out means I'm on no out, so I'm just going to scoop here. There's no draw off the top that possibly contains them now they have Uro out as well. Sultai. Sniper, thanks for the follow. Alright, so against this deck...
We need to become Aaron Girdler tonight, chat. That's the goal.
Bone Crusher Giant is just not that impressive. Don't mind cutting one of those, adding just something to counter a Nissa, a couple things that counter Nissa or Extinction. I like Negate, I like Disdainful Stroke. I don't love either of those things, actually. Yeah, Negate Stroke, and we're cutting a Bone Crusher, and probably just a Growth Spiral here. Borrower is a really key weapon against Uro and Shark Typhoon tokens, so I like having Borrower around. Yeah, let's get the Spiral. Octologist, thanks to you for the follow too. Got all the regulars out nice and early. And hopefully some folks who will become regulars at some point. Camera is pretty big on the screen. Let's shrink that a little bit. I think we're beautiful people, but we don't need to be quite as big. Here we go. Chaos on the stream. Opponent probably hasn't sideboard against Temur Clover in a little while. At this point, I can't blame my opponents for not having clean, quick sideboard plans against us. We've become a rare bird. Okay, we get to keep 7 cards this time. This hand is obviously slightly risky. We really suffer if the opponent has Disfigure on turn 1, for example, but quick Escape to the Wilds into another Escape to the Wilds is how you beat Sultai. You just have to out-resource them. Some do. Sultai can come in all shapes and sizes. Well, the only size is big. It can come in all shapes. So whether you find a 3-mana adventure creature or a Clover or something else next turn, Snowmonkey Tammy is in charge every day. She's visible today, but she's in charge every day. Arboreal Grazer. I guess the card goes pretty well with Cultivate. It also goes well with my opponent maybe just having a Nissa next turn and just crushing me into the ground. We'll see. They just have a turn 3 Nissa, we're going to struggle. And I will start ranting my my special, how dare you print that card to the format. I'm holding back the attackers here. If they, I think dealing 1 point of damage past the Grazer doesn't matter very much. Our hand is very much a ramp hand. And if they do have Nissa this turn, I would like to be able to block a land with Fae of Wishes and stay alive a bit longer, since I think I'm the control deck here. There's Uro. If they have Thought Erasure, they're still a bit away from getting Uro out, which is nice. I fully expect Ether Gust or some other kind of counterspell here. So I have a couple options. I could just go for Beanstalk Giant. Try to bait a counterspell. Ravager, probably not. Probably not. I like my day job. I think my day job is focused on like helping people in the real world and stuff, and then my streaming job is focused on entertainment, and I like that balance. Not going to escape here. I am a little bit worried about it just getting countered. I would rather play a couple small spells, just build up land resources. The more lands you have when you play Escape to Wilds, the better. This also insulates me nicely in case the opponent's next turn plays just Casualties of War. They could have a Shark for 1, so I'm still not attacking here. Really, Want to have a very good reason before you risk throwing away Edgewing Keeper. So we're pretty insulated against Extinction Event. Cultivate's fine. Kevlar Man also puts it very well, yes. And Weed and Magic, post-sideboard, Sultai can bring in anything. I've seen people bring in Mystical Dispute against me. I've seen people bring in lots of Ether Gusts, which makes sense. Ritual of Soot, okay. Grazer's gone. So opponent's in Ugin territory, and they do have Uro for next turn. But I finally get to escape, and what I would like to do is leave up red and blue because I've got a forest in my hand. That lets me hold up a Borrower in case they decide to escape Uro now. It's going to be an interesting game. We both have some good value assembled. Alright, so I could just jam Clover. Don't really have much else to do, so I am just going to jam Clover here. And we'll go for Vents, Clover. So we could get casualtied, but if we get casualtied, they're not playing Uro. Unless I guess they have land, Uro casualties. But we won't talk about that possibility. And very good chance that our next escape hits a Borrower because we have 4 of them, and we're through 20 cards without one. Even if we don't hit a Borrower, we can probably cast a Lovestruck Beast and at least try to stand against the Uro. Okay, losing Escape to the Wilds is disappointing. That was one we were kind of counting on a little bit. We could rip another one, we could still rip Fae, we could rip another Clover, in which case we can just stomp the Uro to death. All of that would be pretty good. Sup, SSA? I'm on an 8-match win streak with it right now. It continues to be really bad against Sultai, though. Clover is bad against Sultai. Discard spells are bad. Casualties of War is very, very bad. I do have a lot of card advantage here, but Sultai has a bunch of Hydroid Crises in their deck. And we're through 2 escapes of our 3 Escape to Wilds already. Negate. Ooh, Negate's actually really helpful, though. Negate means that Uro is going to have a super difficult time attacking through me. So I need to hold up 2 mana. I think I just lose Bone Crusher, cast Beanstalk Giant here, hope that their answer is Casualties of War or something like that, and then I get to negate it. Because if I get 2 Beanstalks out, the opponent's life total is going to go down very quickly. I'm a fan of that. Yeah, this is just a clear Beanstalk Giant. I don't want them attacking with Uro. I don't want them drawing cards sacrifice free. If they have Ether Gust, I'm just going to negate it and hope they don't have Ugin. Although Ugin fares pretty poorly against Beanstalk Giant. There's the Mystical Dispute that I suspected they had brought in. Negate does its job. Just need the last card not to be Casualties of War, Hydroid Crisis. Nissa I can handle. Yep, Kevlar Man. I don't really understand how Sultai is bad against Bant. It feels like, I guess Elspeth Conquers Death is good. Casualties of War also seems very good. Alright, opponent willfully throwing away Uro. I like that. Ugin still doesn't do much to Beanstalk Giant. They are almost at escaping Uro again, because this card is just a horrible nightmare of a card. Ooh. Okay, okay. So opponent could have up to an 8/8 Shark here. Yep, Fae is great at any point. I will take Disdainful Stroke. I like Disdainful Stroke for next turn. The nice thing about Bant is about Sultai is unlike Bant, they can't really clean up multiple Beanstalk Giants. I guess they could have Extinction Event. There's not a little... Do I try to play around Extinction Event? That's the question. They are pretty much in a lot of trouble if I just play Lovestruck Beast out here. If they play a Crisis, I'm going to wish I had just Beanstalk Gianted for sure. But I can still Beanstalk Giant and hold up Disdainful Stroke next turn, so I think I'm going to play around Extinction Event here. Could just go for multiple Lovestruck Beasts. Make a bunch of tokens. Alright, let's go wide. This way, if they Extinction Event, I still have 4 power coming to them. I also have emptied my hand in case they have a discard spell. Casualties of War is pretty ineffective here. How is the red-black cat match, SSA? I mean, there are a bunch of different builds of red-black cats. I think red-black aggro matchups tend to be pretty even with this deck. The fact they don't have any card advantage to go with their cats is really nice. Yeah, Kevlar Man, I just don't agree with that. I mean, it's possible that if I'm up against like a super expert red-black aggro player, Clover's unfavored, but I play that matchup a lot of times. Alright, there's the Ritual of Soot. That does not clear Beanstalk Giant. Having Cultivate does let them get Uro out, but Uro straight loses to Beanstalk Giant, so that's fine. And the only cards they have that should really be able to clear Beanstalk Giant cost a lot of mana. Still worried about Hydroid Crisis. It did look like the special positive they drew a land. Here goes. So this card has gained them only 9 life this game. Make that 12. Gained them 12 life and drawn them 4 cards. But we were actually able to sort of handle it. We're going to need multiple blockers, or one blocker that gives them a whole lot of life. No, thank you. Pretty please? Oh, you've got to be kidding me.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's 2 extinction events down? No, 2 rituals and 1 extinction event down. Are we done? Nissa doesn't do it. Crisis barely does it, but we have a lot of draws to kill them. Brazen Borrower, Bone Crusher Giant are lethal. Lucky Clover's not lethal. But we're giving it our all here. What a stupid collection of cards.
Oh,
Hydroid Crisis by itself is fine. I played a Hydroid Crisis deck before Nissa even existed, and that was fine. Hydroid Crisis plus Nissa is kind of stupid. Hydroid Crisis plus Nissa and Uro is stupid. Very stupid. Okay, the cycling of land's a good first step. Another Crisis doesn't save them, and Nissa doesn't save them. Wow, they really went all in with these sweepers, huh? And they're 1 card away from escaping Uro again? Yeah, having real sweepers, like, if this were Bant, we'd be drawing a card every time they swept the board. And that would be great, but now they just get Uro back again. Can we ban this card? This is going to be my rant of the day. I think I'm using my Uro rant early here. I would like to see this card banned. I would like to see this card probably banned in everything up to Modern, maybe? I haven't really played enough Modern to know if this is as obnoxious there as it looks here, but now I just can't win the game. I don't want to play anymore. So that was Sultai. We almost beat them by having multiple 10-10s for a little bit. I think Growth Spiral is much less of an offender. I think Growth Spiral... Maybe if Narset weren't in the format, I'd feel worse about Growth Spiral or something, but... It's a very good card, but unlike Uro, it's not a fundamentally game-warping card. So, fortunately, we're at the Diamond 3 rank floor, so we get to try again. Yes, Uro is boring in every format, I'm sure, but I don't know if it's overpowered in, like, Modern, for example. I mean, it's one of the best cards in Modern, I'm sure, but don't know about overpowered. Well, I'm sure it's good in every format, besides maybe Vintage or something. But there we go. So our opponent had 1 card that they were able to cast on turn 3, and that helped them develop their mana. It drew them 5 cards, gained them 15 life, and then was sitting on the board as an unbeatable permanent at the end of the game. And that was that. I did technically have 4 Fave Wishes, any of which could have exiled the Uro at any point, but I just didn't draw any Fave Wishes. And my opponent drew Uro 5 times, essentially. Let's try again. Yep, if Uro just didn't gain life, I would probably not mind the card so much, because then it would, you know, the decks that fought Blue-Green Ramp pretty well would be able to handle Uro. Or that is, Blue-Green Ramp wouldn't have this extra tool, and Blue-Green Ramp would struggle against aggro as it usually does. That's alright, Bant is fine. If we had drawn Fave Wishes at any point, we would have been completely fine in that game. This is one of those awkward hands that doesn't have any engines yet, but a Temple helps a lot. I effectively have 3 escapes, 4 clovers, and 1 of 1 mind to draw toward, and I'll definitely take escape there. Okay, opponent's also on a blue-green deck, surprise, surprise. Now that Jarail is a thing, there's some slight temptation to not token there and just hold up a stomp, but very slight. I think getting Lovestruck Beast ready to go is still the obvious play. That's just a Growth Spiral, boo.
I know.
Yeah, Crocs is a very good card. I agree with Jeff Hoagland. It seems like Crocs is like pretty well balanced. Crocs is even probably one of those cards that would be seeing an obnoxious amount of play if it weren't horrible against Uro. Okay, perfect. Opponent trades 1-for-1 with me, which is very kind of them. Against Bant, the question is always, can you beat a Nissa? So this is like an interesting turn where my philosophy of always play to beat a Nissa kind of does a thing here. So if our opponent was not playing a deck with a bunch of Nissas in it, we could take this turn a couple of directions. We could just wish for something. We could Beanstalk and play Innkeeper and a tap land. But I think it's clear here that the actual play is just go Innkeeper Bone Crusher, because the only thing that Bant can really do to beat our deck in the normal course of events, especially now they don't play Dream Trawler anymore, is to play a Nissa and have Nissa live. Playing out Bone Crusher gives me the best chance to actually attack down a Nissa. Sadly, I'm 1 point short of doing it. I can't like Fae of Wishes to get Unsummon and bounce land and attack Nissa to death. But if they did have Nissa, they at least couldn't attack me freely. I could attack into Nissa and force them to choose between blocking with the land or dying to stomp. It looks like the opponent's missing land drops. Big mistake, opponent. Big mistake. So I'm just going to cast Escape to the Wilds now. Doing it the turn you play a land is not super ideal. But I do like the way the next turn is going to look.
Ooh.
Yeah, Weed Magic. I've heard about people saying that they play Claim the Firstborn for this, and I don't know. I guess Claim is really good into Nissa. The problem with Claim against Crocs is unless you get Fling too, in which case you've got double Wish and 3 mana after the Wish, which gives you a lot of other things you can do. Unless you get Fling too, they're just getting back the stupid Uro, which I do not like very much. But maybe it's something I have to try. I know people who swear by that. So now I just get to kill Teferi. I get to play 2 Clovers and a Beanstalk Giant. This game is almost over. Actually, what I want to do this turn is, well, I want to attack Teferi now, so they have to make their choice of what to discard before I do anything else. After that, I have the choice between basically going Clover Beanstalk or Beanstalk Fae. Pretty sure what I want to do is just Clover Beanstalk because I have the Fae in hand and my opponent has no discard spells. But it's a bit of a tricky choice. Yeah, with the other Fae in hand, I think I'm just in for all the mana in the world right now. And then I can just cast Fae at the Exile Zone because it's better than casting Brazen Borrower. I sure do draw a card, boo. Well, Kevlar, man, I don't think the back self-mill cards are really bad in Standard. I mean, they're bad right now with Standard as it is. I think if we were living in a format without Uro, then some kind of self-mill Croxa deck would be one of the best decks in the format easily. Like, Mire Triton's a perfectly fine Magic card. Timurek Calls the Dead is also pretty reasonable if we were talking about a normally powered Standard format. Okay, opponent has Nissa, but it's much too late for Nissa. Ooh, Nissa and another spell? Could it be Teferi Time Raveler? Ooh. So imagine if this were Extinction Event. That would be much more problematic. Is Teferi really going to bounce a Bone Crusher Giant with 2 Clovers on the board? Are you going to bounce Fae of Wishes with 2 Clovers on the board? Ah. Bounce Edgewell and Keeper because the only thing that doesn't hurt you. Tisk tisk. Okay, so this is a pretty straightforward turn. I'm sort of joking, and there are a lot of things we could do with this turn. Can I kill my opponent? Oh, they're actually just dead to me attacking them, and no, okay, they're not quite dead to me attacking them and then going Fling Expansion because I can't expansion with the Tef in play, and I can't deal them quite enough damage without killing the Tef. They're also not quite dead to getting Flinging Beanstalk, because I don't have enough mana for that. There's probably something I do to kill them extra fast, but I just plan on making them miserable here. That's my current plan, so I'm going to grab Domer's Ambush, another Escape to the Wilds, and their graveyard is full enough to get Uro out, so I'm just going to take Tormod's Crypt for extra demoralizing power. Kill this land. Okay, they're done. Thank you, TF Blade. Okay, so because this deck has Teferi, it's not like the Sultai deck where I want to bring in a lot of counters to stop their stuff by default. Sometimes I think about bringing Negate because it stops Tef and can stop Anissa early on the draw. Yeah, I'm down for 1 Negate over, the question is over what? I think the answer is over Growth Spiral. Possibly of One Mind. This deck is much worse at killing Innkeeper than the black decks though, so of One Mind tends to have more value. I'll just go with the Negate over Spiral. Oh yeah, JFB, Fling Expansion Ambush might have done it. Well, I had to attack the Tef. Get it off the board and then Flings. So if I like Ambush, buff the Bone Crusher a little bit, I think that did it. Alright, this hand obviously can't be kept. It's just a bunch of ramp and nothing else. This hand is also bad, but at least has a chance of getting something good. As far as lands go, I would like to go turn 1 Steam Vents, turn 2 Forest, and then past that I want more blue mana, I think. That's my wife, SSA. Tammy. I almost said her last name. I wasn't sure if that's the kind of thing I should be making obvious on stream. I mean, it's easy to find. It's Tammy Fan. Okay, so I need 1 Edgewell Innkeeper, and this hand is looking kind of fine. Yeah, Ambush could have killed the Tef. Alright. Well, Beanstalk Giant's also nice. Beanstalk Giant gets me into Fae of Wishes being reasonable territory. Really hoping this is a Tef and not an Uro. The fact that I've done, like, multiple untapped lands and played nothing yet is probably going to make my opponent a little bit suspicious. Alright, Negate did its job. Probably better than Growth Spiral there, although Growth Spiral honestly would have been fine too. Opponent can't play Nissa yet, so I'm just going to Beanstalk Giant here. Get some extra mana down is always nice. If they play, the best thing they can play next turn is like Teferi, Master of Time, at which I will just Brazen Borrower. They could also just have another Time Raveler, and if they plus it, I'll bounce it. Looks like they have nothing, which I love. So, most likely thing to see next turn would be Nissa. If Nissa is coming down, I probably just want to bounce Nissa, cast Borrower. I could cast Bone Crusher here. The thing is the opponent's got a lot of unused mana over there. And I would rather not play into a counterspell if I don't have to. So I'm just going to do this. If they don't have Nissa next turn, I'm like so happy about that I don't really care about the rest of the stuff. Growth Spiral, also a possibility, of course, but can't play around everything. If they have Nissa plus Dispute, I'm going to be in trouble. That plays a little risky. But with no action in hand, we do have to take some risks. Just Uro, okay. One's probably getting on toward escaping this. Oh no, not too much yet. Opponent's ramping a bit harder than us here. There's Teferi, Master of Times. That's actually perfect. That lines up into exactly what I wanted to do anyway. Which is just bounce this thing, play Borrower, and start clocking the opponent a little bit. The clock doesn't actually matter that much. It's more of like a clock in spirit. But it gives me some leverage against Planeswalkers later, which is nice. Need to find Escape the Wilds. some point. Alright, so I can Fey for something to stop Uro. They're dangerously close to escaping this. If they have a Fabled Passage in hand, they can get Uro out next turn. But. Is that dangerous enough that I need to go Fey for a Tormod's Crypt right now?
Is Cage not really good because
F3 makes Cage worse, Knight of Autumn makes Cage worse. I'm actually just going to do this. I think the Scry is really valuable. Of one mind. I'll take a draw 2. I'll take a draw 2 here. It's expensive, obviously, but I'll take it. And I'm just going to go for the play that makes sure they can't play Tef safely again without having more interaction. This continues to add some pressure. Makes Tef slightly awkward to cast. Okay, there's the Fabled Passage. That's obviously the Nightmare. Now they get Uro out. But I can Fey of Wishes into something to answer Uro, or they can just Ugin. How do I feel about Ugin? Ugin's kind of okay. Obviously not great, but I still get to do Of One Mind plus Fey of Wishes for Tormod's Crypt, wipe out Uro. I could also just cast Beanstalk Giant, but they do have Teferi Master of Time. If I cast Beanstalk Giant, I can then Fey of Wishes for Domri's Ambush to clear out Ugin. Interesting turn. Beanstalk Giant's still going to be good against Ugin next turn. Yeah, Domri's Ambush doesn't work because they just are going to have Tef in play next turn, so I'm going to let Ugin sit and play for a turn. I'm going to play Of One Mind. Obviously not ideal. Basically, just having no Clover and no Innkeeper early makes it hard to win these games. You do need one of your 8 engine cards. Possible I shouldn't have kept the hand I did keep. But yeah, we just had a lot of chances to find something and kind of missed on the key cards. So Uro's gone. This is not going to hold their graveyard back for long because they do have the Master of Time. Was hoping to hit like an Escape to the Wilds at some point. I could still just borrow the Ugin, which sets them back a ways. Yeah, exactly. Real Hiran. That was never really an option. Probably going to lose this one, but being on the play game 3, having a chance to just have an Innkeeper or Clover makes things better. Opponent goes land Nissa here, I'm done. Okay, well there's the second Uro, which is going to come out of their graveyard really fast because of Tef. Tef is pretty weak, I think, as a Planeswalker. I haven't been super impressed with this card, but it is good with specifically Uro. I think Uro alone makes Tef, pretty darn close to like a good Planeswalker in Standard. Alright, let's see if we can find that escape. More kind of wimpy Planeswalkers, and frankly, I'm just not into this game. I think there's odds are low enough of winning that I might as well move to game 3 and try to keep the stream interesting. Just no card draw, no real anything. Honestly, it's nice about Growth Spiral. It does turn through the deck a bit more. I think I still like Negate, though. For bringing the 4th Escape, I still think it's more valuable to wish for than having it in the main. Really, all I want in life is an Edgewell Innkeeper. Hopefully that's not too much to ask. Would you say that your presence here is active enough that I could call this Wife Stream? Because if I retitle the stream Wife Stream, we're going to get twice as many viewers.
I have to say stuff.
Well, you're saying stuff anyway. I've never been able to stop you from saying stuff. Alright.
Uro does make me young. I'll be happy if I never see it.
Okay, so this hand's a little awkward. It's surprisingly like, you don't really need one of each adventure creature. You want like 1 or 2 of these usually, but all of them can be a bit awkward. If I get lands, we'll be fine. If I just keep drawing adventure creatures, this hand could go south in a hurry, but we can at least hold off many of the opponent's threats. Okay, Temple of Abandon's reasonable. Edgewell Innkeeper. This is a tricky one. It like looks on the surface like an easy take, but if I take this, then my next turn is going to be like playing an Innkeeper and double stomping something. I honestly think I just want lands. Lands and Beanstalk Giants, much more than Innkeepers here. The good news is I've got plenty of Planeswalker suppression with all these stomps. So opponent's not really going to have an engine, but I need to find my way to an engine.
Unless I bring out.
Well, if they have Knight of Autumn, I'll be a little sad, but it's fine. If I can get to the point where I can cast Escaped Wild safely, it's all good. Alright. So, that classic 2-3 ramp combo here. Yep. I wonder if they have another Growth Spiral in hand. Possibly an Ether Gust for Lovestruck as well. Okay, well, really glad we didn't keep the Innkeeper now. Now I have to choose whether I'm going to cast this. It makes me very vulnerable to Storm's Wrath if I cast this. I think I'm just going to go Lovestruck here. I'll attack first.
Innkeeper can help you more hands. Maybe.
It's pretty likely they have a Shatter in hand, I think. Lovestruck also contains Nissa much better.
That's true.
That was the 4th SSA. We watched a lot of TV, didn't do anything too special. So there's still one off of Ugin, a little ways off of
We
Burrow.
need to become Aaron
Kill a
Girdler
Tef, I
tonight,
can
chat.
kill a
That's
Nissa.
the goal.
They're closer to Uro now. I hate this card so much, I can't even describe how much I hate this card. I would play Scavenging Ooze in this deck, except for Scavenging Ooze kind of isn't very good in Clover, sadly. Need to be churning more than that. Okay, Teferi Time Raveler is going to be the plus Teferi have a Shatter. The minus Teferi on Clover. As long as I had a 4th land next turn, I think we can handle almost anything. Master of Time is fine. I can still kill that one. Uro is going to come out soon, but we have a Brazen Borrower for him. And there's the 4th land we were looking for. So now we get to make some interesting choices about what to do here. Yeah, so I could just go cast Innkeeper, cast a Bone Crusher, just keep the cards flowing. If I'm splitting attacks, I want to go in at... The other option I have is to like play Lucky Clover and double stomp to make sure I can get rid of all the Planeswalkers. But honestly, I don't super need Clover on the board yet, since if I'm going to be killing other Planeswalkers and bouncing Uro, I don't really want Borrower to go away.
You get so much attack.
This isn't going to be an attack at face game. I just, especially with them having Ood in their deck, I never trust that I can kill them in this kind of spot. So I'm going to go in here. This forces the Tef to minus if they want to protect the other Tef. That means they're not looting. It is nice to keep them off of looting. So now I have to make the choice of whether to keep this in play or whether it's better just to get the extra loot with the Tef. Boros for life, thanks for the follow. Sorry I missed you for a minute there. Okay, they chose to save the Tef. That's fine. That thing can die in the normal course of events.
My first time seeing how phasing works, since I haven't.
Okay, so we're just trying to make sure we churn through the deck, get to lands. There's another land, awesome. So we're going to hit Escape the Wilds. Our opponent's best play this turn is just going land Ugin, wipe my board, which would make me a little sad. But then I can go Clover, double stomp Ugin. Okay, so no Ugins today. We're seeing Uro come out. Seems that way. Yeah, just Fabled Passage also just makes Uro extra offensive. It's just a special collection of awful things. Alright, so opponent's got 4 mana up. This could be Shark, this could be Dispute, this could be Gust. Really want to make sure I bounce this Uro this turn. They're not allowed to untap with that. So one thing I could do is just play a land and borrow the Uro. Nothing they have should be able to counter that. The plays are a Mystical Dispute if I play the land first, then I can just play Clover. That could get disputed, though. I think I want to go for... Problem is, if they dispute my Clover, I can't pay for that and bounce the Uro, and I do need to bounce the Uro because every card this deck draws is just an absolute nightmare for me. I guess I could attack, hope they block with the Uro, and then try to, like, stomp it to death or something. I lose a big creature that way. It is very obvious, yes. Let me just go for Clover, see if they have that dispute. If I lose Clover, it's not the end of the world. Cool. All right. So in that case, I now have access to 2 stomps. So now I actually feel pretty good about going in like this. Do I lose Innkeeper here? New plan. Actually, let's do this. If the opponent goes for no blocks, I can just bounce the Uro on their turn before they attack. If they do this, I have 2 stomps with Uro's name on them. Hey Magic, thanks for the host. It's always really funny to be hosted by wizards. Maybe this is an extra good time for an Uro rant. Okay, so gonna do some stomping. I could stomp Tef, but I'm terrified of Ether Gust, so I'm willing to lose Bone Crusher Giant if it just makes Uro go away. Do they have Dovin's Veto and Ether Gust? I actually wouldn't care too much if they had 2 counterspells. What?
What?
Okay, so the opponent didn't understand how adventures work. They didn't realize Bone Crusher Giant was just going to go to the graveyard. That was weird, but I'm super glad that we got Dovin's Veto out of the way.
Maybe it's some new Bant play.
I don't know. Like, that's not a Bant thing, that's just a playing against adventures thing.
That's true.
Well, we've still got Ugin covered. Shatter the Sky doesn't matter. Opponent is a little ways away from getting Uro out again. This is enough pressure that they can't just... They maybe can't afford to hold at Mystical Dispute forever. That's 10 mana. Is this going to be Ugin holding up Dovin's Veto? If this is Ugin holding up Dovin's Veto, I'm going to be very, very annoyed. Okay, Big Krasis is okay. So now, depending on how good this Escape the Wilds is, we should be getting to the stage of the game where I can just keep up with anything my opponent does forever, but no guarantees. So I'm going to go... I need to make sure I'm keeping up blue mana so I can double bounce here. I'm going to go with Escape the Wilds, holding up a Breeding Pool. This Beanstalk Giant's a nice pickup. Let's turbo. Other Beanstalk Giant, also a nice pickup. This next turn's looking really, really good. And I am absolutely in the market to just bounce everything here. Right. Yeah, I can't play anything else out. I could double stomp the Tef and just leave them with an 8/8 Krasis. Actually, that's probably better, right? I like the idea of clearing their board and pressuring them a lot. Next turn I have 7 lands. If we assume I get to keep Clover in play, which is not a safe assumption, but let's assume that. I can go Beanstalk into Beanstalk, have 5 mana left. Is killing Tef even useful, though? Killing Tef makes it more likely to get Uro out, but if they do get Uro out, I can bounce it. Yeah, let's hide that I've got this Borrower. I think I'm okay taking 8 here. I'm just going to double stomp the Tef. If they have a Knight of Autumn for this Clover, I'm in a lot of trouble, but that's Uro for you. We did beat this deck, I think, 3 times yesterday. So, not too worried about the outcome of this match and what it means for the viability of Temur Clover, but I would like to win. Especially given that punt.
When you're considering why this turn, I run counters?
The reason to do the bounce this turn would be to pressure the opponent a lot and kind of make them want to just replay this Hydra Krasis again.
Because then you can attack.
Yeah, that lets me attack through, put them to 11. Like, their life total isn't the important part. The important part is more that they think their life total is in danger. So now Uro's coming out. I have cast and escaped the wilds and had Edgewell Innkeeper draw me cards this game, and the opponent is 9 cards deeper into their library than me. Usually a bad sign, but the amount of explosiveness I have over here is worth something. I'm definitely, so far this stream, noticing the extreme lack of turn 2 Clover, turn 3 Beanstalk games. We've not had any of those so far. Tolsimir, Friend of Wolves, that's fine. Rest in peace, Edgewell Innkeeper, but Tolsimir is fine. Is going to be Tolsimir Uro? This is Tolsimir Uro. I like the way this next turn looks for me. I mean, it's going to be tough. This is a game where they are firing on all cylinders, and we are not quite at the point of firing all cylinders yet, but we're close. We're achingly close. As long as they don't put an untapped blue source into play, this next turn is looking doable. All right. Okay, land is nice. I'm going to start with... Okay, so if I double Beanstalk, I can then escape the wilds. If I escape the wilds, I can then Beanstalk, borrow. If I Beanstalk, escape the wilds, I need to hit an untapped land off escape the wilds, where everything is like a horrible disaster. So I think I do this first. Great. Plenty of lands. Of One Mind is also great.
Beautiful.
So let's start with some Beanstalking. Going to 8's a little dangerous, but I've got enough creatures to hold back Tolsimir and stuff. So it's effectively fine, I think. Need to find some more Fays at some point since we're going to be losing this Fay this turn, but that's okay. We've got plenty of others in the deck. Opponent does have 13 mana right now, so this Graces is going to come back with a vengeance, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. I haven't seen Tolsimir in a while. Maybe an older build. Yeah, Tolsimir's a nice Fair Magic card. Back in the day, there used to be this big competition between like Tolsimir and Tristani and some other stuff for like green 5-drops. Everybody eventually kind of just moved to Nissa. Alright, there's Nissa. So this Krasis is going to be enormous. Basically, the opponent has access to unlimited whatever they want for the rest of the game. And we're just going to have to live with that fact. I hope we can, but there's no guarantee. If I can like draw Fae Wishes next turn and go for like Storm's Wrath Expansion, that could be cool. Krasis comes down for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, it's not even that big a Krasis.
We only have 2.
Basically, between our Scry, Of One Mind, we need to hit like another Borrower. Or like a Fae of Wishes. Fae of Wishes will be very good if we can find one. Baneslayer Angel. I have not seen a single Baneslayer Angel cast against me in this format, no matter what deck I was playing. Obviously, it's laughable against Temur Clover. Alright, so opponent's being sensible. They're playing a smallish Krasis with enough mana up to actually do a bunch of counterspell stuff. And that's problematic. If they have a Dovin's Veto in hand now, that makes the next turn a lot harder to navigate for us. If they go for a big aggressive attack, I'm just going to kill the Breeding Pool. This one's interesting. Making the deck could be an option. They're still at 26 cards, though, so I'd say we're pretty far from that at the moment. No, wait. I want to kill Tolsimir just because I can bounce a Wolf token if I have to. They could have another Tolsimir, but if they choose to spend a bunch of mana playing a Tolsimir right now, I'm, like, relieved at that. Okay, great. That's perfect. So they do get to kill Lovestruck Beast, but importantly, they have tapped out. It is annoying because now I have to play something else before I do of one mind stuff. So, an interesting position. And then they still let a land drop that turn. That's very funny. All right, so Temple Abandon first. Got to do some scrying. Make sure we have Fae of Wishes negate. At this point, we just can't afford to sit around waiting for that. So really just looking for a borrower. I have a lot of draw steps to hit one. And I get to survive the turn if I hit Fae of Wishes into Unsummon as well. Okay, well that was a lot of borrowers. That's good. Definitely a little short on action. And a little short on blue mana too, so I gotta be careful. So, what is the plan? I think it's just bounce Nissa, bounce Krasis here. Just hold back these creatures that can block and stuff. I'm at 8, but I'm not going to die to just getting hit by a couple of random things. Can I cast Beanstalk Giant and Borrower? Nope, I'm 1 mana short, sadly, because I'm not playing the Bant deck. Don't have unlimited mana to work with. So then I think the plan is just... yeah, bounce Krasis, bounce Nissa. Just can't afford to be getting hit by a 6-power Flying Trampler. Sad as it is to bounce the Krasis again. Who unfortunately is a little bit limited in the number of forests they have. And then I think I'm supposed to play the Borrower because there's a good chance I draw something I can cast, be it Lovestruck Beast or Bone Crusher Giant, or another Beanstalk Giant, which could then turn fetch me another island and give me Borrower back. More tap lands, alright. So this is a little disappointing. We are kind of flooding a lot despite the double Beanstalk. We still have 2 escapes and 3 Fays left. But we shouldn't die this turn, and when you're playing Clover, it's always a matter of, are you going to die this turn? So opponent and I are basically even on cards in library, which is kind of a funny thing. I don't know how that happened. I guess I just put a lot of lands in play. So they're just going to keep doing the thing that was working before, I guess. If we get to the point where they start leaving out counters, we're in a lot of trouble. Oh, Ugin the Spirit Dragon. Never mind, Ugin just kills me. If the opponent does this correctly, which I assume they will, they can go -3. I forgot about Ugin. I probably should have blocked the Wolf token and left Tolsmir alive before, but now they just untap a land and I'm dead. Yeah, they drew too many cards there. Well, that was sad. We did crush Bant Ramp last night. But it's also a very good deck. And we really needed like another Clover there or something to really... Our draws have just been kind of mediocre all night. But let's try again.
Maybe a deck with Uro?
There are no decks without Uro. I wouldn't call anything without Uro in a deck at this point, besides Temur Clover. I'd be fine playing Temur. Nope, Weed and Magic. I mean, A, did you see me casting? A, you really need Clover in your opening hand. You would play 6 Clovers in this deck if you were allowed to. Reducing from 4 to 3 Clovers is a huge reduction in the odds of finding one in your opening hand. Secondly, did you see me play a Fae of Wishes that game? Usually if you play Fae of Wishes, that usually indicates a game where you have a lot of options. And we just never got to that point, unfortunately. The opponent's ramping was a little too fast there. They had the right mix of Growth Spirals, Arrows, and lands. Alright. That's a double Innkeeper hand. Which means, of course, this is where we run into the Mayhem double deck. But if this is Bant Ramp, double Innkeeper this early will just shut the door on them pretty hard. Sure do love seeing islands. The question is always, do you attack with this because they might have Spectral Sailor? I'm willing to risk the Spectral Sailor here. Cool, no Spectral Sailor. Breeding Pool here just because I really want to cast Borrower next turn, so can't afford to do Temple Abandon. Wow, they did have Spectral Sailor. My goodness. Okay, well. Thanks, I guess. I'll take it. Alright, so just going hard into trying to draw cards. I think that they're going to find themselves slightly outmatched in that territory. So I could bounce this and keep them off of Sea Dash or Octopus stacks and stuff, but I just want to start drawing cards and getting the engine going. This forces them to have some way of getting rid of the Brazen Borrower, which is going to cost mana, and then I have a Stomp. Well, so far it's been a no respect for the Innkeeper, but Uro is just good enough to overwhelm Innkeeper sometimes. We also haven't been drawing enough Innkeepers. On the whole, though, alright, so now they have a counterspell for Borrower. Yeah, I'm just going to hit them. If they tap to play a creature, then I just get to wish for Stomp and stomp their thing. And yep, let's go Temple of Abandon, gives me red mana. I would love a Lucky Clover, thanks. And now I'll just wait, I'm not going to play this into their mana here. They choose to tap for something. No real point to playing this on upkeep either, I'm just going to let them go ahead and do their stuff. Okay, they had to spend 2 mana countering it this time, which is nice.
Is that a new counter?
That's an M21 counter. Okay, time to start clovering now. Ah, Snow Monkey, well. Sorry for what I'm about to do to them. That's all I have to say about that. So, got a bunch of options. I could just double Beanstalk. I don't really need to worry about getting hit by this thing one more time. It doesn't matter to me very much. Let's stack with Innkeepers, see if the opponent wants to flash in anything. Still no, okay. So, bunch of ways we could take the turn. If I Beanstalk and they counter 1/2 of the Beanstalk, then I can't Bone Crusher. But I think I'm down to... I think I'm down for that. Whichever one resolves, we'll just fetch a mountain. Yeah, so I don't mind getting another card off of this. I like ramping mana here. Ooh, okay, that is really good. Getting all this down is really, really good. Now I'll end the turn, see if they go for anything at end step here. If it's like a Brineborn Cutthroat, I'm going to double stomp them to death. It's another Sea Dasher Octopus. Okay, Arena looked like it was about to crash, which might have been really sad if they untapped and attacked with that safely. But now I just let that resolve and the game ends.
You know what they one back.
Okay, well, that was a nice refreshing change of pace. There are some iterations of this deck where I do have good cards to sideboard against what the opponent's doing. I don't think I do right now. Domer's Ambush is a possibility, but also gets horribly embarrassed by Unsummon. Normally I really want to find ways to like sideboard out some like Escape Sand or Giants in this kind of matchup. I could have Unsummon, I suppose. But frankly, let's... Yeah, I'll cut an Escape for an Unsummon here. I think Red Cat Melee is a little too bad against them. What with the sacking of lands and all that. And Negate is just too slow.
Yeah.
Hey there, Tiki Rec. Yeah, ArenaCraft, I mean, they might have just thought, alright, if the opponent has a double stomp, I'm just dead anyway. I'll keep this. Clover could get countered, but I like I like a lot of things this hand is doing. Would it be really lovely to find another blue source right now? I think I'm gonna say no to red mana. Because if I can't cast these Brazen Borrowers, my hand really doesn't do anything. Okay, well, that opt is great news. You want to keep a one-lander? Maybe. So that means I get to resolve Lucky Clover. Alright, so question about whether I'm playing Temple of Band to get some Scry on, or whether I just hold up the ability to just cast Brazen Borrower and potentially block like a Sailor with an Octopus on it. I like the option to cast a Borrower, I think. If they just play Brineborn Cutthroat this turn and just keep attacking me with that, then I'm a little sad. Or I guess if they just cycle a Shark Typhoon for 0 mana, do I cast this? I'm actually kind of into casting this while their shields are down. Like, this just attacks pretty well. They have to do something about it. If they trade with a Spectral Sailor, that's fine. Shark, that's fine. As long as they're tapping out, it's all good. And got the double stomp. I think I like the double wish just to eat a bunch of counters out of their hand is tempting. Yeah, I could go for the double wish here. I don't really have anything that exciting to get, but I'm assuming my opponent doesn't know that, so I'm hoping that if they hit lists with like 2 Mystical Disputes, I'll be really happy. Wow, just Sea Dash or Octopus. Okay, okay. So what to fetch now? Negate's a pretty good option. Red Cat Melee, honestly, is pretty tolerable against a Sea Dash or Octopus. Shadow Spear is almost like a thing, but not really. It's too expensive. Orb's Wrath is very expensive. Maybe Negate Expansion? Expansion's almost like a counterspell in some spots. Definitely Negate.
You don't like Dormer's Ambush?
Dormer's Ambush is really risky against Unsummon is the problem.
Mm.
And they did play that against me. But I guess I could just throw Ambush on something that's really embarrassing for them to unsummon, like a Bone Crusher Giant. So yeah, I'll take Ambush. It was close between that and Melee. Yep, if I had a Fry on the board, I would get a Fry, but no Fry. I think the Sea Dash or Octopus meta is not too concerning. Okay, so we have all the interaction in the world. The question is where to go with it. Definitely Temple. And probably just double stomp with Negate backup here is what I'm going for. Don't need the 4th Borrower. Could also cast Fae of Wishes, which blocks Sea Dash or Octopus and maybe eats a counterspell out of them here. Yeah, with double stomp ready, I'm kind of into Fae of Wishes. They're not going to be able to counter Fae of Wishes in 2 stomps. They could unsummon their own Octopus. Yeah, Mono Blue Flash has just never been a good deck to play against Clover. The Fae of Wishes as a 1/4 flying blocker is just so strong against them. Okay, Brianborn Cutthroat. And if this is Mystical Dispute, then everybody's going to have a real sad time. Essence Capture, alright. Yeah, so Mono Blue Flash again, just forced to assume maybe I don't have it. Problem is, we are now past the warm-up stage of the stream, and we are into the having it stage of the stream. Oh yeah, Snow Monkey, I love bluish flash decks. I mean, I played a lot of blue-black Pirates back when I was getting started on Arena. Got to admit, that was, I think, the first deck that got me to Mythic. And I have blue-black Mutate built right now, and I love playing blue-black Mutate, even though I don't think it's as strong as Temur Clover and a lot of other things. Huge tract of Scrubland. Let's see. More Planeswalker hate in the wishes. Yeah, I mean, Domer's Ambush is sort of there for Planeswalkers. There's not really a lot in Temur you can do, unfortunately. Those are the colors that can't deal directly with Planeswalkers. So no, I don't really have... I mean, you could put a Sorcerer's Spyglass in there if Ugin's really giving you fits. That would maybe be the card that's closest to doing what you want. Alright, so now we're back up on the horse. Yep, Ansky and Temur Clover, whatever land Zendikar gives us should be fine for Temur Clover. Temur Clover is not that fussy about needing shock lands. So I expect Temur Clover to be an extremely powerful deck post-rotation. One good reason to keep up your skills with it by practicing it now.
Could you just add more basics then?
So pretty much every big set that comes out is going to gives us a new set of non-basic lands to play with.
Yeah, but if they're like castle, definitely.
I'm almost certain that with Wizards usually pays close attention to make sure there are enough 2-color lands in Standard, but the shock lands going out, I expect we'll get some other thing in Zendikar.
Oh, it's Nessa!
Oh, it's Nessa! Well, hopefully Nessa is playing some exciting deck that isn't just a Bant Uro. I don't really know how rogue she tends to skew. Sammy made the same sound with our teeth there. Oh, this one's a close one. I'm into it. I'm into it just because we have the Fae of Wishes.
It's
really close. We have the Fae of Wishes, so any blue source is good. Yeah, Weed Magic. I know a good Temur Clover player who swears by Mythos of Illuna, or at least plays it, and I don't really see it. I just find that any game where I'm actually Faeing with a bunch of mana, I pretty much never lose. Like, even that game against Bant, where it seemed like we both had a lot of lands, like, the part where I had a lot of lands was after the part I had to exile a Fae in. Alright, so this is the risk we took. Still gonna be totally fine if I just draw a blue source, or any land, really, to make Beanstalk Giant happen. But this is absolutely the risk we were taking. If the opponent shatters my Innkeepers before I get to the land, that's very bad. Perfect.
Oh.
Perfect. Alright, well, gonna take lands. This is still okay. If they shatter next turn, I'm gonna be really sad about the 2-for-1, but I do have an escape in hand. So I would really prefer not to get shattered today, is all I'm asking. I'll take it. I'll take it. Alright. Alright, so a couple options here. I could Fae of Wishes and hope to draw a blue source and then cast a second Fae of Wishes off that. But I think it's much safer just to Beanstalk, get an island, play the Fae. The other thing about playing Fae is I might have been able to draw a Clover. But I like having more mana now. If Nessa goes like plain Nissa, make a 3/3 attack me with Krasis and 3/3 and like bounce Fae of Wishes, all of that could add up to a good amount of pressure. But instead it's just a 4-mana Planeswalker that doesn't affect the board, so I suspect we're going to be just fine. So now I just get to resolve Escape the Wilds next turn if I want to. And I can just bounce Teferi if I have nothing better to do past that. Although I might not even want to Escape the Wilds, I can also just draw like 4 cards off these Innkeepers.
We need to become Aaron Girdler tonight, chat.
Okay,
That's the
so
goal.
a couple options. Resolving Escape is always tempting. Nessa probably has some gusts. Don't know about vetoes in the main deck or not. But keeping, while I have these Innkeepers in play, it also is very tempting to like draw as many cards off them as I can. Escape's always going to be in hand. I might not always have these Innkeepers. TV Vignette, thanks for the follow. Let's do this. And then if I happen to hit like a Bone Crusher Giant, I can just stomp the Krasis and chip at the one of the Tefs a little bit. Escape Borrower. Okay. So I think I'm going to hold the Fae of Wishes in hand and just bounce the Tef 4 here. I have to hit sorcery speed. Do I want to bounce that more than I want to bounce the other Tef? Honestly, I kind of maybe just want to bounce the other Tef more. Because this actually draws a card and like nets them cards. I don't know about the decision, but it felt okay. Okay, so what's being discarded here? All the cards that I don't care about, like Elspeth Conquers Death. Even discard the Tef. Brutal. Nissa's Nissa. Yeah, so the thing about Tef Master of Time staying in play is it does make it much easier for Nissa to be protected from Lovestruck Beast and such, but this does mean I just get to attack with Lope. Okay, maybe not. all the planeswalkers in the world.
You could wrath next turn.
Don't have enough mana to do that.
I miscount.
So the plan for next turn is just going to be bouncing Nissa, keeping her off board, making sure Nissa doesn't get to untap with millions of mana. And then the Storm's Wrath part can come later. Alright, so this is the escape turn. Yeah, this is the escape turn. Okay, lots of things I like. Great. Don't want to do Clover and tokens here yet. I think it's really important to make sure Nissa's not gonna be a card they untap with. Would love a Beanstalk Giant here. I think that's the card I most want to see. Lovestruck Beast, not very important. Got to keep an eye on this Tef because it's getting closer to potential ultimate territory. That's not a huge issue as of yet. Boy, I am really glad we got Storm's Wrath. Such an important card for these spots. So next turn we have access to 9 mana. We play Clover. Yeah, we'll see how this turn goes and start thinking about what to do next after that. Beanstalk Giant still looking like the best draw here. Having like 15 lands is just a lot better than having 9 lands. Looked like Nessa was maybe tempted to try phasing out Fae of Wishes and just going for Nissa and just starting to hit me, which I would not blame her for at all. Definitely unfortunate that she had to animate the Temple Garden so that she can't get an extra attacker in this turn. Like, it still looks like it's kind of unprofitable to attack with Krasis. So potential counterspells are up, but Beanstalk Giant's great, so that means start with Clover. See if this one gets vetoed or disputed or something. Veto. All right. Nice, Nissa.
We need to become Aaron Girdler tonight, Jay.
Now what?
That's the goal.
One short of doing Storm's Wrath things. Could just do a bunch of Edgewell Innkeeper things. Gotta keep an eye on this Tef. This Tef is very close to ultimating, which is bad. That can't be allowed to happen. Part of me almost wants to just cast Escape to Wilds again, try to hit a Clover. And then go off next turn with like Fae into Storm's Wrath plus expansion, now that they've gotten rid of a veto. Could also start playing creatures and hope to hit the Clover off of all the draws we're getting with the Innkeeper here. Yeah, let's start with third Innkeeper. If they Storm's Wrath at this point, I don't care. Storm's Wrath is fine with all the lands that are dying. Just going to draw all the cards in my deck and see if that works. There we go. All right, so Clover is looking safe. Resolve. What do I do after that? Probably just Beanstalk into Clover here. Yeah, let's just Beanstalk into Clover. It's gonna be tight. If Nessa has a veto for Storm's Wrath, then I'm gonna be in a lot of trouble. Unless I find another borrower. Possible the next turn will just end up will just be me frantically searching for Brazen Borrower so I can get rid of Tef. Oh, wait. Oh, I completely miscounted Tef's loyalty. Oh, no, I'm going to die. I really thought the star used his ability, but now it's going to ultimate. Never mind, I think we're dead. That's really bad. That's really bad. I am not used to this card yet. Somehow, still. So now Nessa gets to ultimate this with several Planeswalkers in play, which is horrendous news. Might still be winnable because I do get to take another turn, and Storm's Wrath is going to kill a lot of lands, potentially.
You can ultimate in response? Is that how it works?
Yeah, Tef can ultimate anytime during my turn, but she only gets the extra turns after I'm done with my part.
Right.
Yeah. On the plus side, taking 2 extra turns is going to chew up a lot of time on Nessa's clock. That's something. Oh dear. Yeah, should have... I'm not sure. Probably what I should have done was just, like, send 3 creatures at Tef last turn and make sure I check... What I absolutely should have done now in hindsight is I had to just attack both Innkeepers and the Fae at the Tef, so that it didn't ultimate. That would have been the line. Nessa is not doing anything this turn. Guess just planning a big shark. Boy, alright, so I've got to somehow on this turn set up a board so good that giving Nessa 2 turns is not going to ruin it for me. That part's going to be hard. I love Bone Crusher Giant, though. Okay, so what's the current plan? I have access to only 11 mana? That's so little. That's so disappointing. So I can Fae twice. One of the Faes gets Storm's Wrath. And then I can stomp the Nissa to death. Basically, the goal here is to leave Nessa with no, like, just a completely empty board, and then she gets to take 3 turns, but only has 1 green source, potentially, which might limit her a lot. Oh boy. Yeah, this is embarrassing for me. Definitely not my best game. Okay, so really the only way I ever win this game in a million years is... Yeah, alright, so here's what we're going to do. I am sending everything at Nissa, because everything dies to Storm's Wrath anyway. We need to resolve Storm's Wrath. If we don't resolve Storm's Wrath, we lose. So we're going to play this turn assuming we resolve Storm's Wrath. Yep, definitely need to kill Nissa, but we are capable of it. Thanks for the sub, by the way, Huge Tracks of Scrubland. Leaves an Innkeeper alive. Interesting. Okay. Okay, that puts a new spin on things. Interesting. Huh. Okay then, now what? So Tef is still gonna go off. I think my play might just be Escape to the Wilds, try to hit another Borrower? That was weird. Okay, so if I Fae of Wishes, I can also get, like, Negate plus Storm's Wrath. Storm's Wrath, and I don't have mana to do all that stuff anyway. So strange. I think I still need a Storm's Wrath. I'm going to kill the Tef and put the Nissa into Bone Crusher range. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to tell sometimes, like, what's in a person's hand. It's really confusing, but... So definitely Storm's Wrath, and then it might just be Tormod's Crypt, honestly. Just, like, stop Uro from ever coming down. Yes, just a counter spell, but I need to spend all my mana here, so... Yeah, I'm just going to take Tormod's Crypt here. I'm going to go for Steam Vents Untapped because that stops Mystical Dispute from stopping Storm's Wrath. Well, I guess I died of Mystical Dispute anyway, so there's not really a point to it. Ether Gust beats me here. Okay, Tef Ultimates. Yep. Does this resolve? Okay, that resolved. Cool. So I now get to play Tormod Script, make a couple of Alright, it's double stomp and Nissa, just really hoping this all works. Okay, looks like it worked. So Nissa's gone. I mean, the Storm's Wrath ended up making no difference, because if Nessa had no counter, or the Shadow of the Sky ended up making no difference. If Nessa had no counters anyway, then it was kind of immaterial. Alright, so Bant ramp, Tammy now gets to take 3 turns in a row. Let's see if we can survive. If their first turn is Temple of Mystery, that's a good sign. Got Tormod Script, meaning no arrows. They can't cast Nissa yet.
Oh.
Can't cast Ugin. Tef doesn't really do anything.
Danny raid.
Joel Rail is scary. Whoa, Danny! Oh my god. Well,
We need to become
you've caught me in
Aaron
an embarrassing
Girdler tonight,
position,
chat.
Danny
That's the
T-Law,
goal.
and all you Danny T-Law fans out there. Nessa managed to ultimate a Teferi
We
because I
need to
didn't notice
become
what I was
Aaron
doing.
Girdler tonight, chat. That's the goal.
And we're now on turn 2 of 3. But I think we're actually going to beat the Tef Ultimate, because we just got so far ahead with the triple Innkeeper draw that we had. Joel Rail is incredibly threatening, but Nessa shouldn't be able to put enough creatures into play that she can kill me with this. This is Nissa's. Yeah, this is the second turn.
We need to become Aaron Girdler tonight, chat. That's the goal.
No blocks on Joel Rail. Yeah, with Escape and Fae in hand, I think we can beat anything that Nessa plays this coming turn. But, you know, speak carefully. We speak carefully in positions like this. Scavenging Ooze, that's one we can beat. Yeah, Nessa being starved on green mana this whole game has been really good for us. Hey, the big boss! Airball, Ito, Kazat. Thank you all for following. Yeah, this is the third turn, right? So, I think I don't block here. I feel like the token could block something bigger later, probably. Like a big Scavenging Ooze, for example. Alright, that was 3 turns. Where was this draw in the last match we had against friggin' Bant Ramp? Goodness gracious. Alright, so I've got 30 cards in library, so no need to worry about that stuff. Let's just go crazy. Is this last card another Dovin's Veto? There's no way. I mean, it could be, it could be. Alright, that's more like it. Now we're just doing whatever we want.
Double Clover means that Double Clover Beanstalk means that you can do more than
Temur Adventures is the most mobile ready of all decks, Danny. You hush up with your insinuations now. Okay, so I don't really want to do Fae stuff. I think I just go for just play some creatures? Question mark? Scavenging Ooze can eat a lot of stuff. I'm just going to basically assume for my purposes that Scavenging Ooze is infinite power. So I'm just going to go like Lovestruck Borrower? Maybe it's like tokens. Alright, let's do it this way. Lots of tokens, just set up lots of blocks and make sure we don't die. And then I'll just play like Borrower Fae. I could actually just play this Temple of Bant in this turn, huh? Awkward. And I see Benetti's getting in there with the book recommendation. Thank you, Benetti. Oh god, the Scavenging Ooze triggers. Oh god, the Scavenging Ooze triggers. At least you can't activate it too many times here.
We need to become Aaron Girdler tonight, chat.
Mad
That's the
Thunder,
goal.
thanks for the follow. Elspeth Conquers Death. Alright, we finally see this card come down. Another reason having a Tormod Script in play is nice. Don't have to worry about this thing. Yep, that's Freddy's voice. We have a Croaky's audio clip saved up that's pretty good. We've had trouble figuring out where to put it in the stream.
Croaky's audio clip is
Not even attacking, alright. So now it's just a matter of figuring out where the kill is going to happen. It's just going to be Beanstalk and Fling stuff, so let's... I think I just bounce everything and kill Tef here, just because Tef is annoying and I don't like his face.
not gonna be.
ECD doesn't really bother me. Having spells expensive next turn won't matter. Got enough mana. But it's all good. It's basically Croaky's just saying a bunch of nice things about me. I cut the parts where he said things that were less nice about me on either side of it. Not that he was mean, it was just some commentary on a deck and the pros and cons of the deck that I had built. Yeah, no Hydrocrisis, no Uro Bant looks a lot more fair, to say the least. That's half the deck, too. It's just such an awkward draw. He's like found every ECD in the deck.
We need to become Aaron Girdler tonight, chat. That's the goal.
Yep, time to do Beanstalk Fling stuff. I might have actually had to kill this turn. How big are these Beanstalks? Oh. Yeah, I just had to kill this turn. Oops. Oh well. Sorry, Nessa. Just, my biggest flaw as a Temur player is just like not realizing when I have the kill. Although I just have it now, right? Where's my Fling? Stop it, Mr. Beal. Oh yeah, this is just over. Okay. Well, I think I technically needed the Brazen Borrower to have the kill because there was a Tef in play, so I couldn't have done the expansion thing. So I had to somehow get that out of the way. Good game, Nessa. All right. Trying to click up.
Wow.
All right. Well, that was some game one. I don't know. I should check the clocks when we start the next one.
You can view that.
That is true. Does VLFL give me the clocks between games? That's interesting. Yep.
We
So
need to
we are
become Aaron
1
Girdler
minute behind.
tonight, chat. That's the goal.
Negate over. Man, do I even want to negate over Growth Spiral? I could do it over Bone Crusher, but they are Derails and Scavenging Oozes, so maybe not. She probably sideboards out Oozes. I don't know if she sideboards out Derails. I think you should sideboard out all the things that die to Stomp if you're playing Bant Ramp against Temur. I'll just stick to the plan from before, I think. Stinky Dude, thanks for the follow, and same to you, Aqua MTG. Stinky Dude, yeah, I think Temur Clover is favored. I think I'm 3-1 against it in the last 2 streams. It feels like we did lose a match earlier tonight. It was I think it went to 3 games, and the games we lost, we were just kind of like all the cards in our deck that weren't Innkeeper and Clover, which is you need some Innkeepers or some Clovers to get them. But in the games where you have like anything like a strong like ramp draw, usually Bant just can't keep up very well. So this draw could potentially be pretty explosive if I can find an Edgewell Innkeeper or a Lovestruck Beast off the temple to actually make up on mine a reasonable draw spell. I think this draw is just worse than the average 6, though. Yeah, this is better already. I like this much more.
You want double board.
Hey, thanks, Danny. That makes me feel better about my decisions and stuff in life. Part of the breeding pool because we got a blue spell to play next turn. This is definitely a draw where we're just going to be running out of Fae, which is on turn 2, almost certainly. Especially in games where you're mulliganing, you just really want to build up a lot of board presence against this deck quickly. And the really nice thing about going Fae Bushes here is that it makes sure that its Heft can't come down safely. That's a really big game. Yep, Glass Casket would have been, well, we had Brazen Borrower for it, but Glass Casket certainly would have been pleasant to play against. The thing that's scariest now would be just Growth Spiral into Shatter the Sky. Since we don't have great follow-up if the Skinkeeper dies, but that is the main reason you're favored against Bant Ramp is they're just bad at getting rid of Innkeepers. So Nessa would need the untapped White Source and the Shatter here. If all she can muster up is like a Teferi Master of Time, just having this 2 power on board lets me pressure Teferi really well. The other Teferi doesn't really do well here either. Sure. Okay, yep, just gonna keep jamming stuff. Lovestruck Beast is nice because it means that Shatter does not... Shatter draws me a card. Getting 3 Fae of Wishes early is not ideal. I sometimes have tried going down to 3 copies of Fae of Wishes in this deck, and I end up regretting it pretty frequently when I do that, but it's always there in the back of my mind. Okay, so does Derail mean that Tef's just gonna like bounce Lovestruck Beast, take away my board presence a little bit? These very much are games where frequently both players are just wrestling over Planeswalkers, so I think this play makes perfect sense. There's a land, great.
We need to become Aaron Girdler tonight,
just
chat.
go
That's
right
the
back
goal.
into Lovestruck Beast here. I guess I could have played Temple to Scry first, but I wasn't sure if I was going to draw another land. That might change my mind about that. Yeah, I still think I just Temple Scry rather than going for a token. Another Temple. At this point, I'm not that interested in this. I really want to find Clovers and maybe Bone Crushers to clear out Derail. Didn't want to attack with Lovestruck there because Nissa is a card that could come down this turn. I feel like I'm still the control deck in this matchup most of the time. In a position that's like this even, with both players kind of having not done a lot of stuff yet. Very into... Alright, so Steph is going to bounce Lovestruck again. Yep, keep my board clear. Makes sense. And Derail is starting to become a bit of a life total threat. Not having Clover or Bone Crusher early means Derail actually gets to do something this game. Usually it's pretty bad. Also, that Fae Wish's attack was actually really bad. It was what was bad for me. So 1 mana open means I just get to Beanstalk into Lovestruck, and I think I'm going to do that. I guess if I Beanstalk into Lovestruck and Nessa has like another Tef, then Derail starts to attack for like awkward amounts of damage, but if I just don't attack with my other stuff, I think I'll be fine. And slowly ramping to the point where I can do Fae of Wishes into Storm's Wrath. Although, do I want to kill Tef here? How much do I want to kill Tef versus just having Fae of Wishes as a blocker? So Nessa's gone through 2 Tefs already. I think I'm going to kill this. This might be wrong. We'll see. I'm also open to chump blocking with Edgewell Innkeeper at this point if it seems necessary. Okay, Uro, that's great. So it's not a Tef and it's not a Nissa. Absolutely fine with that. 17 units to 16, sure. No Glass Casket either is great. All right, perfect. So no second play there means that we're now in probably very good shape. I think I just want to clear Derail first, see if this resolves. Still looking for Clovers and Escapes, so if this gets gusted, it's going straight to the bottom. Don't want to draw this again. Veto, sure. And Veto actually means we're somewhat at risk of Uro coming out. I would prefer not to see that, so I might just Fae for a Tormod's Crypt and then make a token and have that be the turn. I can also bounce Uro if it comes out, but yeah, I'll clear the Uro here, I think. Derail actually makes a lot of 5/5s. I realize literally as I go to my sideboard having cast Fae of Wishes that Derail now makes a lot of 5/5s. So now I'm wondering if I need to just get unsummoned for that. If I get attacked by a bunch of 5/5s, I get to block Derail, chump 2 tokens, go to 4. Lose Fae of Wishes, that's also Nessa's entire turn. Which means if I draw a land, I can just go Storm's Wrath. Ooh, interesting. Yeah, I should have been thinking... Oh, I'm making a token this turn too. So... yeah, this is fine. I still want Crypt. Definitely still want Crypt. And that was too early. That was too early to pop that. Yeah, should have waited on that. I was not patient enough. Okay, well, let's see if Jarail activations are what's happening now. If I just chunk with Fae and Token and kill Jarail with Lovestruck Beast, okay. So this is good. It does mean they get another cat, but no activation is fine. And I'm going to have an extra Lovestruck Beast in case of activation stuff. Yeah, Nessa's hands really just haven't seemed like they've been coming together super well. Hard to tell what's going on. Nope, no flame sweeps on the board. It's a good question, though. It's a good question to ask. So I'm just going to draw as many cards as I can here. Still looking for clovers, still looking for escapes. There we go. And I think I just hold Borrower here to play or cast. I can imagine next turn just being Ugin, at which point I would love to have Borrower around to like attack Ugin to death. Yep, Kevlar Man puts it well there. Still don't want to be attacking. Jarail could just be attacking with a bunch of 5/5s, but our board keeps up with it. So if it's Nissa this turn, we have a lot of ways with Fae Bushes to attack Nissa to death. Okay. Question is, do I just bounce Nissa or do I just jam Borrower for it and go for the attack? I'm now attacking with 6 4/4s potentially. I'll wait. I'll wait. She has not played a land this turn. Okay. Power here means I can attack Nissa with a bunch of flyers, potentially kill it with a stomp. Another escape to the wilds. Do I go for this? Do I go for this? Almost certainly a veto in hand, so there's some question whether I just want to keep playing creatures. I think I want to try and escape. Might as well make sure that the veto actually exists. And if I don't play it now, it's going to be really hard to resolve in the future. I feel like this is a pretty safe turn to try for this. Okay, resolved. That's great. The things I hit off it were really bad, but I did like that it resolved. No complaints there. Don't need to worry about Ugin or Shatter now. I still have enough life that I can hang with that. I think I bought him the Stomping Grounds. Still just really want a Clover. We're half the deck here without a Clover so far. If I could draw that this turn, it'd be interesting, but I can't. Still think I bought him this.
We need to become Aaron Girdler tonight. That's the goal.
I'll actually keep that. I'm just going to play Innkeeper Fae this turn and just draw 2 more cards. I think I'm okay with one of those being a Bone Crusher Giant. Yeah, I don't know where the Clovers are. I do not know. So the combination of Krasis plus Jarail the next turn is scary, but now that I have a way to kill Jarail, I'm not as worried about that. Opponent could have up to a 3/3 Shark. Then could go at Nissa with these 2 exactly. Yeah, we have enough blockers. There will be how many attackers next turn? If it's a Shark, up to 8 attackers, all of which could be 5/5, so I need to block everything but have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 creatures back. Well, let's just go Borrower attacking here. Okay, no Sharks, cool. Pleomorphic Carcinoma, interesting username, thanks for the follow. Counterbloom, also I missed you before, sorry about that, but thank you for following. Okay, Tef is not so scary.
My goodness.
Wow, Sidetrack, hey there, thanks for the raid. Glad to see y'all. We're in the middle of a really intense match with another streamer. I'm going to be really fascinated to go back and see this from her perspective. We're now 3.5 minutes behind, so ideally we just win this game. I don't have to think about time for game 3. It's been crazy here. Tef is fine. Tef is bouncing a token, sure. So Nessa does have the ability to attack me with 7 creatures, all of which would be 5/5s at the moment. But then I just wish for Storm's Wrath, so everything is fine here. Specifically, chipping Nissa with Brazen Borrower next turn guarantees she dies to Storm's Wrath this turn. There's like a glass casket, things are slightly trickier. Yeah, having Storm's Wrath available just means that it's pretty hard for things to go too spectacularly wrong. I hope. Uro is fine. And Uro coming out this turn, nope. That Tormund script's still doing work. Graveyard's still pretty empty.
Nothing's done.
Well, we used Tormund script.
No, I know. I mean, since then.
Yeah, since then we've had really quite the staring match. This has to be the big Durail attack, right? If you're going to do it, this is when you would do it, probably? Go for it, Nessa. Go for it. Go for it. You can do it. Hit me. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, so... no real reason to prefer killing some stuff to other stuff here. Guess I'm just going to block and be ready to kill these lands. And... yeah, might as well. The slight issue here is if I block with both Innkeepers, and then the Nessa just doesn't activate Durail, I'm in a tricky spot, but then she just has 2 mana left over. I can just kill the Planeswalkers. So I think this is fine. I assume we're just going to see the activation. Yep, okay, that's... fortunately, they don't get Trample. If they got Trample, well, I'd be playing this card right now.
That'd be so...
Okay, yep. And a Lucky Clover. Perfect. So... yep, this is going to be, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 mana. So I can go Clover, Beanstalk, Fae of Wishes for Storm's Wrath, play Storm's Wrath. Seems good. Uro does get to come out after that because I'm killing literally everything in the world. Other option is I can Lucky Clover. Actually, that seems better, right? That seems better. Let's go with just Lucky Clover. Fae of Wishes, make sure we're holding up double red. I'm just going to get Storm's Wrath, Grafdigger's Cage here to sharply reduce the chances of Uro coming out. I don't have any more Tormund script availability, but I do get Grafdigger's Cage plus Storm's Wrath. Boop. Boop. That was satisfying. Durail does seem like a really good addition to Bant, but not against Temur Clover. I didn't even pay attention to whatever got exiled off the Escape to the Wilds there. Okay, it was just some Beanstalk Giants, that's fine.
Yeah.
I probably should have used one of those. But I think we'll be fine here. Okay. So now I just gotta win the next 10 minutes. I do not think that at 6 lands, Bant Ramp gets to put up a defense.
We need to become Aaron Girdler tonight, chat. That's the goal.
Still got 3 more Clovers in my deck, too. This could get vetoed. That would be interesting. Fair enough. So then this turn actually just looks like play Fae, make some tokens, and make sure I can bring Fae back to hand in case of emergency. I believe that's where I'm at. I could also double stomp the Narset, but then if my last Fae gets Storm's Wrath, I'm in like a slightly awkward spot, honestly. It's shattered, that is. So far we have seen 0 shatters. Yeah, I could have... honestly, I probably should have played a bunch of creatures this turn and tried to keep... given that she only has 1 white source, I should have just tried to keep her off a veto. That was actually a pretty lazy play for me. But of course, nothing we can do about it now. So I'm going to end my turn. If she does have like a second white source plus a shatter, then I can just pull Fae of Wishes back and then wish for once in future. Yeah, Cover Man, I think the, well, if it weren't for Jerail, I guess I don't know what the deck plays in that spot instead. She did do a reasonably good job of keeping up with a draw that was pretty heavy on Lovestruck Beasts, so that's something. Okay, Hydroid Crisis. Do I just bring back Fae here? She's still representing Dovin's Veto. I think I'm down to do this instead. We're going to go Stomp, hit Nessa, hit the Crisis, and then plan on whatever card I draw next turn, just keeping it in hand. Well, next turn I just get to cast Beanstalk Giant, and Beanstalk Giant's like a tremendous threat that requires like a Shadow of the Sky or Elspeth Conquers Death, both of which are double white.
Well, I was saying instead of...
Oh yeah, I'm just attacking Narset. Okay, so we're just going to hold that land. And force Nessa to deal with the Beanstalk Giant, and then if she does successfully deal with the Beanstalk Giant, we've got the Fae of Wishes follow-up. No Gust for that, great. And we'll go one Lovestruck Beast as well, in case there's an Elspeth Conqueror's Death instead. Gravidade Bugado, thanks for the follow. I think we have one Innkeeper left. Innkeeper isn't super important at this stage, though. We basically, once Fae of Wishes gets used again, we have access to pretty much our whole deck. And it looks like Nessa just hasn't found that second white source. I would not be surprised if there was like a Shatter and an Elspeth Conqueror's Death in her hand now. Burrow's locked down by Cage. Well, we're both with you there, Ansky. We're both with you there.
We need to become Aaron Girdler tonight.
It's 8 o'clock.
That's the goal.
This hasn't even been that long. It's just been incredibly eventful. Okay, and let's just hope that Nessa hasn't brought in Tail's End. If Nessa has Tail's End, then this Fae of Wishes play is going to be sad. Once again, the 4-drop Planeswalker that does not affect the board has not impressed me much. Yeah, neither of the cards in my hand is very good at this point, so I'm happy just discarding both of them to save the mana for next turn. If there was a card here that I was really interested in keeping around for some reason, I'd be much less likely to use Fae, as opposed to just drawing another card.
We need to become Aaron Girdler tonight,
so
That's the goal.
Start here, force the Tef activation before we do anything with Fae Wishes. Tef is pretty obligated to stop Beanstalk Giant here unless Nessa has Ether Gust.
We need to become Aaron
Hey,
Girdler
Chris,
tonight.
Tangents,
That's the goal.
Salem. Do we get a huge raid or something? A bunch of people started following. But thank you all for following. Beanstalk Giant is phase at a time, which means that Shatter and Elspeth Conqueror's Death no longer do very much. Doesn't mean we can't fling it. So keep that in mind if you're going to have commentary on
We
that.
need to become Aaron Girdler tonight, chat. That's the goal.
Is Scooz the best M21 card in Standard?
We need to become Aaron Girdler tonight, chat. That's the goal.
Sure? Sharton, Guacamole, wow. Huge follow spree. Thank you, everybody, for the follows. Now we'll just grab Escape once in future, the classic game over package, as it were. Another veto doesn't really make a lick of difference here. 25 cards in library is plenty. I think there's at least one more Fae in there. Yep. Not actually sure this is the best 2 cards to be getting back, but it doesn't really matter very much. Yes, sidetrack. Azumanga Daioh is the image.
No, the other one. Oh, wait. Oh, is that really one?
That's the follow image. It is from Azumanga Daioh, yes. Really, really, really funny manga. Highly recommended. The image is hard to explain because Azumanga Daioh is sort of a psychedelic-ish manga in terms of just like not following perfect reality, but it says welcome to my country, and that is when you arrive here, you are in Little Beep country, so welcome. Thank you, Tammy.
I was on it.
You were very on it.
Unlike my previous comment.
It's basically little four-panel comic strips, so not like a traditional manga in that sense. I forget the Japanese term for four-panel comic strips. Okay, so Tef comes down. Tef still can't interact with Beanstalk Giant, though. Tef can bounce Grafdigger's Cage to free Uro in a future turn, but I don't think Nessa's going to get future turns. Ooh, sidetrack. What else do you like manga-wise? Well, goodbye, Lovestruck Beast. Phasing is so funny. I actually kind of dig phasing. I'd be interested to see that one come back at some point.
It's a funny animation.
It's a very funny animation. Okay, so this island could represent Mystical Dispute, but the turn in general is pretty straightforward. Just going to be able to get Fling now. I'm going to kill Tef here, just hit. Yeah, there's no way. Yeah, she just can't counter Fling, so we're just going to end the game this way. Especially once this island blocks. Good games, Nessa. It was a truly epic match.
No one wants to sit through the game of this. You can't do that.
I can't expand it, obviously, but I had to wish for something else, Boo.
Okay. Make sure.
Good games, Nessa. Good golly. Part of me wants to switch to someone else, but all the raid people came here with the expectation of seeing Temur Clover, so oof, that was a doozy. But I'm ready to do it again. Except for Arena just can't take any more chat. Arena has crashed.
MTGH.
Arena was just like, nope. We're not doing it. Not again. I've actually met Nessa in person, and so it's kind of weird to imagine like what the equivalent of that would have been in paper.
Me too.
Like we're just both playing in like a big conference hall, and there's like little bleachers around us, and just like 400 people waving signs with emojis painted on them as we make a gigantic, unfathomable board state.
This is one of the few in person.
The thing about Temur Clover is I don't think I'm good enough to play this deck in paper. Like, I played plenty of paper Magic in my life, but I'm, like, so rusty at it now. Like, I've never cast any card in this deck in paper, ever. And I just do not think I would be capable of it. I think I could learn with a lot of practice, but if you, like, if you told me tomorrow you've got to play a deck in a tournament, I might be forced just audible to Mono Green Stompy or something. Because I think I would just get too many game rules violations trying to play Temur Clover. Ansky, yes, good games to Nessa. Very enjoyable streamer to watch. Huge tracks of Scrubland. For a second, I thought you were just making a joke, and then I realized that there is a real card that corresponds to Goldilocks. Nah. I think the card is just a little bit too unimpactful on both sides. Like, it pretty much is never going to hit an artifact or enchantment that matters. Maybe if you're really lucky against Wilderness Reclamation, but they do have sharks to block it. And pretty much cards that are good if you have Innkeeper early don't really fit well. And even in the late game, once you get to 7 mana, making like 6 2/2s is frequently not all that powerful. Like, the card is good in theory, I for sure see that, but it's like weirdly ineffective, I think, on the whole. Okay, so double Clover hands you pretty much always keep as long as there's anything else to do, especially if there's a temple. This is one of the big reasons we play temples over triomes. They just set up early draws really well. Borrower is interesting. If we're up against Bant ramp, then having like triple Borrower early is not that exciting. But up against any kind of aggro deck, this is great. And if we are up against control, then having 2 Clovers plus Escape to Wilds should be pretty great. Anyway, I think I'm keeping this Borrower. Close call. It might be wrong. But I'm not going to just assume we're up against Bant Ramp every time, because maybe someone just comes out with mono red. Dora Hedora, I've not seen that one yet. Trashy Isekai. Do you have any good trashy Isekai recommendations? Darn. The last manga I read that felt isekai-like was Silver Spoon, which is technically about farming. Just regular farming on a farm. No fantasy or anything. It is very good, though. If you whisper to me, Sidetrack, I can try to find other recommendations. I've read pretty much everything palatable in the top 100 or so of Go-Go anime. Okay, so it's ramp. If it's just blue-green ramp, then I like where we're at more. Let's go with the Stomping Ground, have some red mana, go for Clover. The scariest thing blue-green ramp can do is, Risen Reef into Nissa or something? I don't know. Borrower just contains, okay, it's Sultai with Grazer. Still fine. And, ooh, the Growth Spiral Arboreal Grazer hand where you don't have the 4th land? Is that what we're doing, Toshi? That is what we're doing. I love it. I love it. I love it. There's like 0 chance I actually cast Brazen Borrower, though, so I'm just going to play this out tapped. Yeah, scariest thing there would have been Gemraiser if this were Mutate. I would not have wanted to see that, but if all we're doing is playing cards that put lands into play, but we don't have a lot of lands, A-okay with that. If I get Escape to the Wilds down before Casualties of War comes down, this game should be a pretty good one for us. No guarantees, but I like the look of it. Well, the best manga also serves as excellent literature, I would argue. If Silver Spoon were a novel, it could be a real novel. All right, so Uro's not coming back anytime soon. This is just the escape turn, and then we'll do the Fey turn next turn, I think, once we have a better sense of what we actually have access to. Cool, cool. So even if Toshi has a Nissa, I can just go escape, triple stomp Nissa, and it's not really a concern. Ooh. I have definitely been there plenty of times with my own attempts at Bant and Sultai Ramp, and it is a terrible feeling. Would not wish that on anyone. Okay, so I get to play both lands off of the escape here, which is cool. Not being able to play any of these borrows out's a little awkward. We'll just go for make some tokens. This way, if Toshi plays any permanent at all, I'll just bounce Toshi's whole board. Oh wait, oh, never mind. I should have actually just stomped everything. Not that it's going to matter very much here, but yeah. So that was a plain old case of Mana Screw, not much of interest there. Sideboarding against Sultai is a little different than sideboarding against Bant, because they don't have Tef, since your counterspells are much more likely to actually have text. So I like having Negate and Disdainful Stroke in post board, just because stopping Nissa is really important, stopping Casualties is really important. Having more cards that do those things is great. And because they don't run Tefs, and they're generally have lower numbers of small ball planeswalkers, I like cutting a Bone Crusher Giant. You just don't have as many things to stomp against them. Lovestruck Beast is tricky. Lovestruck Beast is really good at dealing with early Nissas. Is really awkward against Extinction Event, though, because it's a card that just is creatures. It doesn't really give you anything else. I think I'll just go down to Growth Spiral as the flex slot here. Yeah, Weed and Magic, I mean, it depends on the ramp deck, of course, but Temur Adventures is just like a ramp deck that happens to have a different package of spells in it, so it makes sense that the ramp matchups would be fine to good. It's weird. Temur Adventures is a really hard deck to describe. I want to say, like, oh, well, you're less consistent, but your best draws are more powerful or something, but that's like... It's like not really true?
Oh, what a hand.
Yeah, hand's pretty good. It's like you just play out in different patterns. Like Temur has some percentage of nut draws and some percentage of kind of iffy draws. The same is true of the ramp decks. And the draws just look different when they happen. Alright, Forest is actually lovely. Definitely down just playing Innkeeper out on turn 1. There's always the question of like how hard do I want to try playing around like Cry of the Cranarium and stuff. So I think this turn is not going to be second Innkeeper. I'm just going to go for a Beast token. Looking for lands off this temple, although I don't know about lands that don't make red mana. I think I'll bottom this because Beanstalk Giant and red producing lands are both great here. Yeah, I don't mind having this card, Sutrax of Scrabble, what I would suggest is, like, what are you cutting for Baron? Basically, I assume if you name a card that you're pretty much always gonna be planning to cut it for, cut, like, the Growth Spiral and the One Mind. Baron's big problem is that Baron costs 3 mana. This is, like, a major reason that Uro is a really bad fit for the deck. Is on 3 mana, you have so many things to do, whether it's Beanstalk Giant, or Lovestruck Beast, or Bone Crusher Giant, or Brazen Borrower, that any 3-drop replacing one of those really has a high bar to clear. It is nice that Baron can bounce adventure creatures to like get adventures off again, but all of that kind of assumes a game where you like you don't need your adventure creatures in play to attack with, and your adventure creatures survive. Baron just seems a little too finicky. At this point, I'm pretty dead set on the idea that unless you have a really good reason to do something else, that the cards in the Temur deck should pretty much always be just trying to make themselves invisible, just like drawing you more cards and getting you more lands so that you can do the things that Temur is already doing. Oh, Bone Crusher Giant is so good here. Alright, so this is going to be nice. So they're going to have to block Lovestruck Beast if they want Nissa to live. They might just block Innkeeper instead, in which case more power to them. But yep, that's the expected play, and the draw of Bone Crusher Giant there was incredible because it means I get to go Clover, Bone Crusher, kill Nissa, and then they don't even have Casualties of War open for next turn, which is excellent. Could have played the island instead of the forest there, but not a big deal. Yeah, Lovestruck Beast is just so nice in how it lets you pressure these early Nissa starts from the ramp decks. Sadly, next turn I won't have quite enough mana to Fave Wishes for a counterspell to stop Casualties of War, which would kind of put the game away in a certain sense. But just casting Escape alone is good insulation. And is that what I want to do? Other options to play like Innkeeper, Bone Crusher, just build up even more of a board, and then just plan on escaping next turn. That also has some appeal to it. If they do have Casualties of War, I don't care. If they have like Extinction Event on even, it's a little sad. The worst case scenario would be like Extinction Event backed up with Negate or Thought Erasure. Take away my Escape to Wilds, but right now I have no evidence that they even have lands that make blue and black mana, so that seems unlikely, because they could have Agonizing Remorse. I feel like it's not quite the right time to play Escape. I think we're going to have a hard time utilizing all the cards off Escape, especially if they kill one of our lands with Casualties next turn. So I'm just going to try presenting a bigger board. Okay, probably hit at least one more land off of that, although it's a little sad. If they Casualties here and just kill the mountain, then we're in a little bit of an awkward spot. Might just have to cycle the Fave Wishes. Another Krasis, on the other hand, we can handle that. So we're like one off of lethal if we find a Borrower here. Okay, Toshi just doesn't even want to see what happens next, which makes sense. There's very few combinations of cards I have in hand that don't murder them there.
Oh, that was so fast.
That was very fast compared to the last one. I'll take it, though. I'm not complaining. Alright, well, everybody's on hero decks today. Let's just keep going. Slog, 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 slog. Heard a lot of people say they want Magic to get more aggressive after rotation, and I can see that. Like, aggro decks have been bad for a long time, I get it. And I've seen a lot of people say they want like value-oriented mid-range to be like a standard thing again, which I could also see. I love my value mid-range decks. I would love nothing more than to see a standard where I get to play, I don't know, just value mid-range decks again. What I would really be interested to see is like a standard format where like tempo is kind of dominant, where there are like multiple archetypes of tempo. There are lots of like flashy things happening back and forth. That would be cool. I haven't heard anybody say they want tempo standard, but I could go for tempo standard. Creature combat having more presence would be nice too. Shocklands post-rotation, Weed and Magic. I mean, I would recommend not playing them because you'll get kicked out of the tournament. I could imagine them being printed again, maybe. They are not exclusive to Ravnica. I think some of them are pretty hard to pull off, though, like Godless Shrine, maybe. You could print them on Zendikar. I honestly think they should. I would like to see some other land cycle happen, though. Like fast lands, I would love nothing more to see Copperline Gorge reprinted or something. Although that's also thematically pretty difficult. All right, what to jam here? Pretty down to just go Heart's Desire on turn 1. I'd rather see first if my opponent's deck is the kind of deck that can kill an Innkeeper before I decide how I'm going to run Innkeeper out there. Like they might just have a shock this turn. Ooh, Temple of Silence. Okay, if this is like black-white or like Orzhov Yorion, I'm pretty interested. My interest has been piqued. Beanstalk Giant. Without a Clover, I'm not super impressed. Alright, what you got for me? Burglar Rat? I mean, it might be Burglar Rat. If it's okay, if it's just eliminate on Innkeeper, fine. Whatever, that's fine. Clover's nice. Gonna play Lovestruck here because it sets me up for a potential of 1 mind being very cheap. If the opponent just kills the human, it's whatever. I guess most likely bad case scenario is Kaya or Kaya's Oath coming down and killing the 1/1. Ooh. Okay, so it's actually black-white Aristocrats, which means I get to cast up 1 mind. Also means that Lovestruck Beast is just super good here. Question is, do I scry first? I don't think so. I don't think it's worth doing that. Alright, hit Innkeeper. So just gonna go Clover Innkeeper here, I think. And no attacks. I am absolutely control deck here. There's no temptation for me to start charging into my opponent's face with Lovestruck Beast. Especially since they could just like block with Archfiend's Vessel, bring it back with Lurrus this turn. Brazen Borrower was incredibly good against Archfiend's Vessel, by the way. One small benefit of playing Temur Clover in this day and age. Liliana, Waker of the Dead. Fun. That's not going to live long. Okay, she gets to kill Innkeeper. That's fine. Whatever. Even more Innkeepers. Alright. More Clovers. I think... Yeah, I'm playing Escape the Wilds next turn. I could go... The problem is if I don't play Escape the Wilds next turn and the opponent like discards it, then Lucky Clover looks just awful. But I think it's good enough to be worth keeping. And then we just bounce both of these boys. Kill the Lily. And we do some smorking. This puts a lot of pressure on the opponent to kill Innkeeper next turn or something if they can, which means they're probably not discarding a card from my hand. Yeah, it's been so long since I played against just like a normal aggro deck that wasn't, I guess, Priest of the Forgotten Gods based. I mean, I'm sure they're playing 4 Priest over here, but wasn't Priest Claim based. Didn't have Mayhem Devils in it. It just feels so relaxing.
I thought that.
Sorry, this is... Oh, no! What? No! What is our opponent playing? What is this pile? Oh, God. Yarok's Fenlurker. I didn't even have to play this Innkeeper. I could have just kept it in my friggin' hand. Patrick, it's never been more appropriate. I'm so mad. I'm so mad at myself, mostly, for letting this happen. I guess I just play out all the cards from my hand, because what else am I going to do? I mean, I think we're fine with Double Clover and Innkeeper. We have much of our deck is just draws that are absolutely great, but that's not a mistake I'll be making next game. Fiend Artisan. Okay. Fiend Artisan is not great. Lurrus the Dream Den, also not. Alright, so Lurrus Fiend Artisan actually sets up an incredibly good... Well, okay, no. Archfiend's Vessel exiles if it comes back, so that's...
Oh my gosh.
Oh, you know you love to see it, chat. You know you love to see it. Alright, we'll keep a red open because Bone Crusher Giant is the card I'm really hoping to find. That works too, you know, I won't complain too much about any of that. Okay, so Lurrus Artisan, somewhat dangerous, but feel like we'll be okay. Feel like we'll be okay.
Why the third?
I can triple Fey. But no, it's a good question. Fey to draw a card was also like a perfectly adequate play there.
No, I mean like you're gonna lose.
I mean, I can play them next turn if I want to play them next turn for draw cards. But yeah, probably playing Fey was a little better than Clover there. My wife has corrected my play on that spot. Chat advantage, Tammy, come on. I mean, it didn't happen this time, of course, but now I'm smarter. You made me smarter. That's chat advantage.
Chat advantage?
Chat advantage.
You mean wife advantage?
Well, you're chat. You're in chat right now. That makes you chat.
Oh, I'm sitting next to you.
But you're also there.
Lumping.
It certainly was, Ansky. Really makes you think, right? I mean, it really makes you think. What is my opponent grabbing here? What's the 3-drop you grab? That makes sense. That's good. Huh. Okay, so that actually, gets 2 Ayara triggers. That's pretty good. That's also pretty good. Jeez. I'm not even wishing this turn, am I? I'm just killing everything. That's 4 stomps. Count them 1, 2, 3, 4. So I think what I do here is I just stomp, kill Lurrus, Ayara, Fiend Artisan, and then I triple Fey of Wishes, quadruple Fey of Wishes. One of my Feys gets unsummoned. I just unsummon the demon. I'm going to lose a Fey of Wishes and an Escape to Wilds this plan, but I don't even care because I have 4 copies of Fey of Wishes, so it doesn't really matter. And we're going to make sure to line up the stomps in the correct order such that I'm not letting the... basically, the Fiend Artisan has to die first. Whoops, went in full control mode accidentally. So the draws here, I mean, the Yarok's Fenlurker was unfortunate, but the draws have been nothing but absolute insanity since then, so I'm pretty happy. Yeah, Cage is a card I could get as well. That'll probably be one of the things I find. Make sure we're leaving out blue mana. Yep, perfect.
You have Unsummon back on the board now?
I do have Unsummon back on the board. Ugin is no longer in the board.
Good.
Just play cheap cards in your Clover sideboards, folks. Just cheap cards are all you need.
I'm glad you moved away from me.
Okay, so I assume our opponent's deck is a Priest of the Forgotten Gods deck. But it looks like Brazen Barber is fine against them if they're playing like a bunch of 3-drops. It's also fine against Fiend Artisan. So I don't really know. I want Domery's Ambush, I think, just because killing Lurrus is important. I'll almost cut Growth Spiral because I always cut Growth Spiral because I'm boring like that.
Like, why bother playing the card?
Well, what should I play instead? Another Of One Mind? Because then I'd always just be cutting the Of One Mind. It's just like, the problem with the flex slot is that every card in Clover that's not one of the key cards in Clover is so much worse.
I would just put 2.
I'd also go back to playing the Great Henge. Would that make you happy? Ooh, huh. There are some decks against which I would like this hand. A deck that's playing a bunch of removal for Innkeeper is not one where I'm super into it. I think I mull this. I think my average 6 is better. Why do I make decisions, chat? Why do I make decisions?
Oh! You had a fake.
Well, I was trying to get a 5 lands is... Alright.
This is not.
This is not a good time, no. We're just going to find some lands off the top and everything will be fine. Hey, Scotty, thanks. You came in at a bad time, but thank you. Stomping Ground. Give me a Stomping Ground. Okay, that's fine. I'm just going to get rid of Borrower because Bone Crusher is just straight better. Okay, we're getting there. We're getting there.
And you have green.
I also just didn't want to borrow the Sven Lurker anyway.
What?
What the hell? Maybe their hand was just 5 swamps and they mulliganed into it accidentally.
Oh! Never punish.
I mean, there was nothing to punish me for, right? My hair is going to be in crazy shape after this freaking stream. Because that's just... That is the pose.
I'll have to get...
Well, now I have perspective on what it's like to be Croakies, because I don't even know that person. Never paid them a dime, and yet... and yet... To be fair, that first game was really demoralizing for them.
Confirm not saying.
Well, let's go again. Darn it, this is actually the perfect chance to break out a deck that was not Temur Clover, because we're now at the Diamond 2 rank floor, but whatever. I know what you all want to see, you sickos. Well, you're not included. I'm talking to the screen, and you're not in chat, right? You're my wife. So make up your mind. Oh, yeah.
Take it.
I'm in. It's fine. Fun fact, Brad Nelson did ask me on Facebook yesterday, is Clover still playable? And he seemed dubious. But here we are. Zweckdog, having occasionally made the mistake of not playing Clover and then playing against Clover, yes, it's incredibly disheartening. Ooh, a blue and white deck. A blue and white deck? They better be playing black and have Thought Erasure in their deck, because otherwise this next turn is going to be a real sad one for them. Please don't go Forest Uro. Please just be like a regular blue-white deck. That would be... Okay, well, no play is also fine. I'm down for no play. Boop. Exterminate. Basically, the rule for expensive counterspells is expensive counterspells have to be really good to justify themselves. And I don't think Sublime Epiphany quite fits the bill. Okay, so they only had the one Mystical Dispute. Only had the one Mystical Dispute, chat. What a mistake. What an error. Alright, what do I actually get? What do you get the Clover player? What does the Clover player get when the opponent hasn't done anything yet? Is it just once in future for more phase? Is it like a negate for a potential Nissa later? I'm kind of in a negate, actually. This might tempt them to play a Tef next turn if they have one. I guess if they go Growth Spiral into Nissa, I just triple stomp it, so never mind. It's not a problem at all. The negate was pretty arbitrary. Could have been other things too. Yeah. If I want to get Cage, I would normally just rather have Crypt most of the time, Jim Carroll. Like, Cage is great against cats if they're bringing back tons of different stuff from the graveyard. But if the only thing you're worried about is Uro, they can bounce Cage, they can, hit Cage with random Wilts or Knight of Autumns they might be playing. So in those spots, I'd really rather just have Oh, the saddest Krasis. I will say Teferi Master of Time is definitely better than Hydroid Krasis X equals 2. That much I will yield. So I'll play Escape this turn. Obviously, it'd be cool to hold up Negate for Anissa, but the opponent knows I have it. So I'm just going to go ahead and... Temple or Forest Innkeeper. Next turn, I would love to escape again and maybe do some borrowing. Let's Temple. What am I looking for here? Not Breeding Pool. I've got enough Shocklands that make blue here. Goblin Crater Maker to snipe Panther. I think you mean Ugins? And nope, Goblin Crater Maker isn't. For one, you can't wish for it, which sort of defeats the purpose of playing a card that has one narrow purpose. So no, Goblin Crater Maker doesn't really fit.
We need to become Aaron Girdler tonight, chat. That's
Hey,
the
Vuzinja
goal.
Beaver, thanks for the follow. Yeah, if you want to snipe Ugin with something out of the board, Domery's Ambush does part of that. Sorcerer's Spyglass could be an option if you're really worried, but I just haven't been losing games to Ugin that wouldn't have been lost to like a Nissa. Okay, well that gives me the option to stomp all the Crasises to death. Ooh, let's start there though. Let's start there. Island's no longer a problem. Sammy always with the 6 burns.
We need to become Aaron Girdler tonight, chat.
6.
That's the goal.
Crater Maker does kill Eugene. It's not just artifact, it's colorless permanence. Leaving up green and red. I'll leave up green and blue, I think. I've got actually more mountains than islands left in the deck here. Infinite Borrowers. It's going to look weird. I still think I'm just down to borrow these Crasises instead of stomping them. Stomp just deals with Nissa so much more cleanly, and also I don't really care about anything that my opponent's doing at the moment. Let's play you. Play you, because I actually do want to get Innkeeper down. I don't want to take more damage here. Bounce all of you. Losing Borrow, of course, but Borrow is going away anyway. And this just takes my opponent's 5 power and turns it into 0 power. And if we're not getting killed by the aggro Crasises, I don't think anything's killing us here. Big part of learning to play Temur Clover is just learning when to throw away resources. Like when you have like much more stuff than you can possibly use.
Was that borrowed from last? Like, would you have lost it?
I would have lost it. Relentless Savage, thanks for the follow. Project Veneer, I don't know. You'll have to ask Preddy.
We need to become
I am Aaron Girdler, so
tonight,
I've never had to become
That's
Aaron
the goal.
Girdler, so it's a mystery to me. Lord Nikon, thanks for the follow. Yep, Sweck Dog, Elspeth Conqueror's Death is horrendously bad against Clover, just one of many fine reasons to pick up Temur Clover today. Alright, well, opponent's really committed to... Opponent knows I like double bouncing, so they're going to double bounce right along with me. Let's just make this the turn of sadness. Although when you're not playing Temur Clover, frankly, every turn should be the turn of sadness. Nope, 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 not you, you.
Hurt me.
What do I want from my hand today? I guess I'll grab that Tormod's Crypt now. I'll take once in future, actually. And I'll take... They're not even close to getting Euro down. And I'll take Disdainful Stroke. And I'll take I'll take a Shadow Spear. I could get Unsummon and just replay Fae and then put it back in my hand and then wish for more stuff. But even I am human. I can be humane sometimes. Pow! Hey, we got a new sub! Thank you, Drents, for the subscription. Wonderful to see you here. Sub money goes, half of it goes toward a really good cause. It's just really fantastic to have you here with us, so thank you. And I guess I need to pick a new charity of the month, huh? I haven't actually decided. Well, it'll be one of the charities from GiveWell's list of top charities, so it'll be something that's really well vetted, really helps people a lot in an area of the world where money goes really far. So Development Media National might keep it around for July. It's a good charity, but might also switch to something else that has a similar mission of health in the developing world. So anything that gets played this turn gets countered. I don't care what it is. Well, okay, can't counter that, opponent. You got me. You got me. I don't really need to unload this Bone Crusher, so I'm not going to do that yet. We'll unload this Escape. Might as well just get all the rest of the cards out of my deck. We got Negate to protect it too. Greed, 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 greed. 28 cards, 26 cards. I'm just playing spells at random at this point. Like, this is not the place to look if you want to see optimal Clover play, because I'm just doing whatever the heck I want because this game is over. Sort of using my mental energy in other ways. That is, my brain is resting. Patrick, I'd be happy. I would absolutely take that trade, because if they banned Uro, I would get to play like 10 other decks that I like, that are all just rankly unplayable because Uro exists. So please, ban Clover, do it, sure, fine. I'll find something else to do with my life. But you'll be saving thousands and thousands of Magic players from awful games. That is my declaration here. Okay, so I want to keep up 2 counter spells, I guess. We'll just go Innkeeper. I have to discard a hand size. That's really inconvenient. Don't want to do that, so I'll do this instead. Yeah, Zwekdog, I think some people just want to see the show. Some people, I think, just have an ethos of never concede until the game is literally done. An ethos that I don't really understand, but it does seem to fit the pattern of how some people play. I'm not attacking the Meta Sharks. You know, some people are also literally hoping for the unit to cut off. And sometimes you do win off clock damage. It's also true. They might just try to run on my clock. I'm confident enough in this matchup that I don't really feel the need to hold on to clock stuff. I've only spent a little over 5 minutes in this game, and it's probably going to end next turn. I guess I don't have an active Fave Wishes right now, so I should make sure to get Fave Wishes back to my hand if I have the chance.
Oh.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm just going to counter that on principle. Don't really have to, but I'm going to do it on principle. Next turn, they're just dead to Fling Expansion. Weeded Magic. Nah, the metagame event doesn't really interest me at all. The amounts I earn there are pretty small. I'm just more concerned, at least while I'm not in Mythic yet, I want to just be like getting to Mythic. I find that the stream does much better if I have like a good ladder rank that I can brag about. So that's like my selfish streamer ways. And the metagame challenge always just feels like a little bit random and weird to me. Like the prizes are not that important to me. I have a full-time job and can pay for whatever stuff I need on Arena.
So close to Death by Stomp.
So close to Death by Stomps. Oh, they are dead. Okay, well we can also. Part of me wanted to just I can equip Shadow Spear and stomp them to death. I can actually just stomp. Yeah, I can stomp them to death here, but I think it takes longer to resolve all the stomps than it does to just get Fling Expansion. They might also just scoop when they see Fling.
Oh, no, they are. Yeah.
I don't know. I guess I have to resolve 3 Fey triggers, which is something too. I'll just grab something that they know I have in my sideboard, like Storm's Wrath, whatever. So I can just fling and attack them, so I don't need to. Darn it! Maybe stomps for fewer triggers. That's like it's like Code Golf, but with Magic. How do you kill them with getting the fewest triggers down possible? Should have just stomped to death, probably. It's fine. People love it when you flick the bean, as Aliantrazi so delightfully puts it. And resolving expansion there definitely takes more time than just attacking. Zach B saying it's a lot of questions. Let's see. Clover v Bant. It's very good against Bant. It's middling against Jund to slightly unfavored. I fear Jund more than I fear Rakdos because Jund gets to play Corvold, and I friggin' hate Corvold. Well, it's a fine card to exist. I just hate playing against it with Clover. Yeah, as for its bad matchups, Reclamation is the one that's most prominent. I think Mono Green might be kind of bad now. Just any deck that plays a bunch of Gem Razor Medic is scary. Mono Green moving from 4 Gem Razor down to 2, as I've seen recent lists doing. Makes me feel more confident in the mono green matchup. Beyond that, hard to say. I think almost everything else in the meta is good. Like, there's nothing I fear playing against besides Reclamation. Everything else feels winnable. Sultai also. Sultai is not great. I think worst matchups would be like Reclamation, Sultai, Jund in that order. But once you get to Jund, you're already talking about something that's pretty even. Cloverman, I can always count on you to be a firm advocate for Clover, and I appreciate that. Yeah, okay. Okay. Chat would be really mad at me for mulling this, and I do think it's correct to keep.
It's not.
The hand is not nearly as good as it looks, but it is a keep. That is a good summary, Tammy. Okay. Do need to find a red source or a Fave Wishes or a Lovestruck Beast. Also do have to be mindful of Growth Spiral into Shatter. See if this puts a white producing land into play. Yep, it did. Okay. So the correct play next turn is almost certainly just going to be around one more Innkeeper instead of both Innkeepers. Because Shatter this... Uh-oh. We might also just like draw a bunch of cards that do nothing and die. Like Clover is a bad draw for us here. Brazen Borrower is really bad for us here. Like the hand had risks in that a lot of cards don't work with it. That's totally fine, Zach. No problem. Nah, Kevlar Man, I still don't believe in that. I get too many hands which are awful for my colors. Ooh. Huh. Gosh darn. So they didn't play a land. I think I like the idea of going with one more Innkeeper, holding back Bone Crusher, and then next turn, if they don't do anything scary, I get to just go third Innkeeper Bone Crusher. This also gives me Stomp for a Derail this turn. Or a Stomp for like a Tef if they play a Tef 4 here. Slightly risky if they go Shatter, but if they go Shatter, I just go, you know, Stomp them, untap Innkeeper Bone Crusher, and it's probably fine. Okay, against Tef, we obviously just Stomp. Are you playing Triomes, Kevlar Man? Because I don't like Triomes very much. Remind me what your mana base is again? Because if it was just Triomes, then I could see it. If I were playing Triomes, though, I would still want more secure colors, I think. But it's tough, it's tough. I mean, I'm also just a stubborn old goat and set in my ways. Is that all 3 Escape the Wilds? I didn't really even notice what was going on, but I guess that's all 3 Escape the Wilds, huh? Yeah. 3 is still the right number. 3 is still the right number. Yeah, I don't think that's bad. Like, I could imagine that being pretty similar in how good I feel about it. So maybe there's something to it. Okay, no Nissa here. Well, Nissa wouldn't have really worked. We could have killed Nissa on the subsequent turn, but no Nissa here just gives us license to just focus on drawing more cards. Ooh. Shock and a land, you say? Let's find out what that's all about. They were playing Brazen Borrower game 1. You should certainly side out Borrower against Temur, but I would not blame them for not doing it. It's not the most obvious thing to do. I actually think this is just Bone Crusher Giant. Really hope we hit another land and just play Clover. Like, I'm going to start discarding hand size really soon, and while I can discard 1 Escape to the Wilds without feeling bad, I would prefer not to do too much of that. Oh yeah, I think they should have +1 Tef every time they minus Tef here. Oh, I'm not surprised you veto. That makes sense with what they held up for the Shock land. They also can play Uro out this turn. If they can Uro and then counter Escape the Wilds, they might have a pretty good engine going, but this is still a lot of Innkeepers. Nope, that is not... Alright, so they take Bone Crusher Giant, so Uro maybe gets to attack through. That makes sense. Now I'm just going to play Escape the Wilds. I've hit Brazen Borrower, the game should end, basically on the spot. If I don't, then we've got more stuff to play through. Okay, so... Alright, guess I'll just play out the other Clover then. That's fine. Uro attacking once is not a huge concern. I can tolerate that. Not going to trade with it. Not going to trade 2 Innkeepers for an Uro. I think that's probably wrong. The ideal would be if they decided to like play something to kill one of my other creatures so I couldn't triple block their Uro. I wouldn't mind that at all. Nope, just swing it in, and pretty fine just taking 6, honestly. I could triple block. I like the idea that this gives them less room to like play an Ugin and make me really sad. Tough play though. It's possible triple blocking there is actually just correct, as sad as it seems. Part of me just hopes they'll shatter this turn. Really? Alright, somebody finally played a Baneslayer Angel against me. I was just saying that it never happened, and now it's happened. Ooh, Banishing Light taking out Clover is a good one. Brazen Borrower, though, is a really good one. So, plan here is, I do want to play Escape the Wilds. I might end up getting a card stranded or 2 from over here, but that's fine. The ideal would have been to hit another Clover there, which I did not. Baneslayer Angel, I don't care about. That one can hit me as many times as my opponent wants. It's not drawing them cards, so it's not important. So I think this turn's just going to be Beanstalk for a mountain. Just keep getting lands in play, basically. And then play the island out of the exile zone and bounce the Uro. And having the Innkeepers means I feel pretty fine here. I can also just chump Baneslayer Angel pretty well. So this turn they could Ugin minus, well they can't really Ugin minus because that just wipes out all their stuff over here. They could Ugin plus. Ugin plus would be slightly tricky. Hey, Anonymous Gray. Thanks for the bits. I mean, probably depends on the matchup and stuff. I can imagine plenty of scenarios where figuring out what to do with mono red is harder. On average, I doubt that's the case, but having not played much of either deck, I would feel bad pronouncing myself as an authority. Playing aggro is hard. Somebody really likes these glass caskets, huh? Thinking Bone Crusher seems wrong. But they might just be thinking that I have as many cards as I want, and they're maybe just trying to stop me from killing them or something. Okay, just looking for more Borrowers and Clovers here, basically. I'm going to start with Borrower because this blocks Baneslayer Angel, which is nice. Elven Mind's a good reward. I'm at 9, so a pretty safe spot. Really just want some Clovers right now. Can I get some Clovers? Negate. Well, Negate's kind of awkward this turn, specifically. Let's draw some more off this. Gonna have to discard a lot to hand size, but that's honestly fine. There's the bar we were looking for. I guess I Beanstalk for what is awkwardly just about my last basic. Borrower does unlock a Clover next turn, which is nice. It's going to let me do a lot of wishing.
Oh.
Really? Okay. Okay, discarding stuff. I think it's just Beanstalk Giant. We have one more basic land in the deck. No, we have 2 more basics, actually, huh? Definitely Stomping Ground. Definitely Edgewall Innkeeper. I don't really need more cards right now. Maybe keep Escape because it's a bigger burst of cards. And I think just a Breeding Pool. Should only need the 1 land drop for next turn. Anonymous Gray. No, I have no idea why they're playing it. I mean, it's a fun card. It's like cool looking. It's got lifelink. I just don't see doesn't seem like it does anything better than the other cards in the Bant deck already do. Yep, the parade of cards I don't care about continues. Yeah, I mean, Baneslayer Angel is a perfectly fine card to play in like your sideboard and stuff. Totally reasonable. Okay, so I think... Huh. Currently got 23 cards left in my deck. Question is, do I start with Escape this turn? Some things I'm considering are A, starting with Escape, B, starting with Fae of Wishes for Mystic Repeal, so I can just get rid of this Banishing Light, get my Clover back, and go from there. I'm honestly pretty into that, and then maybe saving the Escape for next turn. Could also bounce the Banishing Light and then double Fae of Wishes for other stuff, though. Then they get to play Banishing Light next turn, which is annoying to think about. Yeah, I don't know about this play, but I think that it's kind of like an all roads lead to Rome moment where it doesn't really matter very much what I do. If they try and counter this, I can just let it happen. All right, so we'll take Mystic Repeal, get our Clover back. It's effectively that 1-mana Clover, which seems like a pretty good card to have here. Adjacent to sideboard, nah. I have milled to death exactly once with this deck, and I'm almost certain I punted in that game. And I have played close to 1,000 matches of Temur Clover at this point, so Jace just doesn't seem too necessary. Okay, so we've got the double bar already. I think on the principle of just get rid of things that are annoying, I'm just going to double bounce these two creatures they've got there. And then just have Borrower Negate up on their turn. This pressures them to start eating stuff with Scavenging Ooze. We might as well get out of the way now. Not even going to try, interesting. Don't see the logic of putting counters on it. Okay, so I guess our opponent could have a shark. They could have a large shark. So maybe I just don't bother attacking. What I could do is actually... Never mind, I'm going to do this. I'm going to play Fae of Wishes out here, and then hold up Negate. This way, if they have a big shark, I can negate anything they might do to remove Fae. This seems fine. And then, do I not attack for fear of large sharks? If they shark, they're not Vantressing, which is nice. I'll attack with Bone Crusher Giant, since I don't care if this survives or not. Okay, so they do just have a shark. That's good to know. All right. Well, sorry, Bone Crusher Giant. You were there to test the waters, and unfortunately, there was a shark in the water. Very sad. Still, they're not really close to getting Uro out. They're really Vantressing here? Ooh, okay. So it's probably a land in their hand because they want to play, or maybe they've just realized that playing Baneslayer Angel just in general is not going to be the way to win here. Top bottom. Oh man, I really hope that top card's a Tef. That's going to be really, really good negating this Tef here. Or another Casket would also negate another Casket. I just never want to be in a position where I'm dead to one attack, because that makes me think, and I hate thinking. Oh yeah, Patrick. You see that? That is the face of misery. It might not look it. It might look pretty neutral, but it's the face of misery. Never think if you can avoid it. What's left in the deck at this point? We got 3 Clovers, at least 1 Bone Crusher. So just one Bone Crusher because the other 2 are sitting under here. Plenty of resources. Ooh! Nope. Nope. No, sir or ma'am. Okay, are they dead? So this is This is 6, 10, 14, so they are technically dead to Fling Expansion if they don't have Mystical Dispute in hand. However, if I shock into land to try Fling Expansioning them and they do have Mystical Dispute in hand, I lose. I prefer winning to losing. So I think we're not going to do it this turn. Kaupe, yeah, I tested Dugan for a little while. I got it out a couple times, but it never felt like it was all that essential. It feels like people are kind of ready for it. It's not great against like Nissa lands, for example. Just ended up taking it out. Yeah, I'll just start with Escape. It's just so hard to go wrong.
We need to become Aaron Girdler tonight, chat. That's the goal.
Now it is Clover.
We
Wish Up a
need to
Storm.
become Aaron Girdler tonight, chat. That's the goal.
Oh, I have one in the side. Oh, chat advantage, Tammy. Goodness.
Sorry.
That's fine. I was going to use it next turn anyway. But yes, Tammy has bullied me into making the technically correct play of doing this instead. I'll get Unsummoned for the Shark. I'll take a counter spell or something, I guess. I have one. I have Disdainful Stroke, sure. And a nice Tormod script because I have to start thinking about Arrow soon. Would they have disputed the negate, though? Yeah, they probably would have. Whatever. You've learned an important lesson about playing it very safe in games that you can't possibly lose in any other way. I'm just really paranoid. I feel like there was a good... When I was playing a DreamHack, somebody had like a good speech about like me as a paranoid player, which I appreciated, which is I just refuse to lose. I try very, very, very hard to avoid losing. Easier when you're playing a deck like Temur Clover that beats everything in the long game. If I was playing an aggro deck, I'd have to be much more aggressive and kind of negotiate that better. But when you're playing Temur Clover, if you're this far ahead, then take the line that you know never loses, even to your opponent doing the weirdest things with their timer. Or with their priority stuff. Did I play a land that turn? If I didn't play... Oh yeah, I didn't play a land that turn. Yes, I should have played a land. The reason I didn't play a land is because I forgot. Yeah, I don't know about Tough 4. I mean, reasonable, sure. I could call it reasonable. But I'm... Yeah, somewhat dubious of the card. Alright, so we do gotta watch out for accidentally dying to Sharks here. Once again, they could have a counterspell. So I think I just jam a Beanstalk Giant here. Because Beanstalk Giant just threatens to kill them in all sorts of ways by itself. And we have Disdainful Stroke to stop an Elspeth Conqueror's Death. Girdling around slightly, but again, there's basically, as long as I'm sufficiently careful, no way I can lose this. Now at 10 cards in the library, so I have to keep an eye on that a little bit, but... I just want to start... I should probably just start attacking with Innkeepers now, actually. I wouldn't mind these just dying, because I would like to stop drawing mandatory cards when I cast my creatures. Yeah, I think I would still want Great Henge over Tef, but it's an idea. It's an idea that I would like someone else to test while I'm on the ladder with this, but it's definitely an idea. Actually, Heart's Desire was not important. I shouldn't have bothered to do that. I haven't played an Escape this turn, have I? Have I? I have not. So this Brazen Bar has to be used or it goes away. Yeah, so I'm actually just going to attack with these Innkeepers. Absolutely don't mind throwing them away, because they're just kind of in my way at this point. I have access to my whole deck if I want it. And I think I just hold up Brazen Borrower here. This is a weird timing thing, where if you have a Brazen Borrower, it's about to go off of Escape. I basically, the thing I'm most scared of here is my opponent having another Shark Typhoon. Because that, in combination with the Tef, could actually kill me. Well, not really, but it would be, like, annoying. Okay, opponent realizes that me milling off of Innkeepers is a real danger to me. I respect that. So I think I just hold open all my mana here. I will lose Brazen Borrower if I don't use it. Oh, I have another Lovestruck in here. Or I'll use a Lovestruck too. Dirtling a lot, honestly. Dirtling a lot here. Probably would have just won with Fling Expansion either of the last two turns, but I'm trying to play it ultra safe. Because there's just no way I lose if I don't go for an aggressive play and my opponent happens to have the perfect answer. Nah, 8 cards is a lot of cards, boo.
There's 2 innkeepers.
This way, also, if they activate Castle of Antris, I can just bounce the whole board and get my Bone Crusher Giants back. The opponent can't possibly deal with Beanstalk Giant through my Disdainful Stroke unless they have a Shatter anyway, and a Shatter wipes out my Innkeepers. That's fine. Ooh, okay. So now I know their whole hand, so that's fine. I guess I now just brazen everything. Yeah, they can play the bar after I do this, but then Tef still doesn't kill me. Hey, Bashav and Kefroman, thank you both for following, by the way. Sorry I missed you there for a few minutes. I'm thinking my opponent might just gain a bunch of life here. I assume they're more in survival mode than kill me mode. What did I target with this first? Glass Casket. Target the ooze, make them make this decision now. Okay, they're not even going to try and play Borrower. They're just going to try and stay alive until I mill out, which is a sensible decision. It's not going to work, but it is a sensible decision. Worst comes to worst, I can easily just wish for Storm's Wrath and kill my own Innkeepers if I'm super worried about milling out. And then I just have infinite giant creatures after that. I think Luis Salvato is like the absolute best example of you can't mill out with Clover, don't worry about it. Luis, when he was playing Clover, didn't even play Fling. Not even have expansion, he didn't even have Fling. He just relied on plane-wide Celebration, just getting back Beanstalk Giants over and over again, and assuming that people would lose if you just played enough Beanstalk Giants against them. And I appreciated that energy from Luis.
I mean, Luis just has great energy.
Luis also just has great energy. Tammy speaks the truth. Well, Zach, no, I have a Disdainful Stroke, Zach. I'm not going to lose to Electro Dominance. Don't scare me like that.
You said you were playing.
No, I don't lose to Electro Dominance because I have Disdainful Stroke. So it's fine. I definitely set myself up to die to Fling here, to be fair. If my opponent had a Fling, they could go Baneslayer into Scavenging Ooze, make it a 5/5. Oh no, they don't have mana to Fling after that. It's a shame. Big mistake. Yeah, Uro definitely looks a lot worse when you start shoving a bunch of Glass Caskets in your deck. They haven't any Fabled Passages, to be fair. Or Growth Spirals. Unlucky. Yep, no Jason sideboard, so it'd be convenient to win quickly in a game like this, but as I said, I've milled out exactly once in something like 1,000 matches of Clover, and I think that was a punt because I wished for the wrong stuff anyway. Thanks to the 300 plus people who are still watching as this goes on, by the way. I may not understand your motivations, but I appreciate that you're hanging out as we slowly... Oh, opponent is tapped out. Opponent has admitted they do not have a counterspell.
Oh.
That seals it. That seals it.
No, Aaron.
Okay, well, this hopefully the opponent understands what's going on once I do this. Mountain plus Banefire. Dude, is Banefire in Standard? I feel like it's an M19, isn't it? I'm making that up. So I will go down to 5 cards upon casting Beanstalk Giant here. Not even close to milling out. Not even close to milling out. Y'all are so scared. Nope.
Don't misclick now, Aaron. No, shock in for dominance.
We've already established sufficient dominance. Not Shadow Tapper, just leave a basic forest up. No, don't you dare gain 4 life with Scavenging Ooze. This is exact. I put exact lethal on the stack for a reason. I put exact lethal on the stack for a reason. Okay, fine. Goodness. Yeah, Panther, the correct play there is probably his once and future for the misclick insurance. Okay, that's I don't even know how to answer this question, chat. It took such a long time.
Make a poll, make a poll.
Okay, chat. Casual poll, just post in chat. Did we have fun in the match? Did we have fun in the match? Panther says yes. Any other takers? Yes, yes, we had fun. Okay, okay. Oh, middling face from Durian. Negative. Oh, a no from Durian. Thank you for clarifying that. It does seem like the yeses have it, though. So yes, Wizards. Thank you for printing Lucky Clover.
We need to become Aaron
Game
Girdler
Fire's a
tonight,
no.
chat.
All right,
That's the goal.
all right. So, RoboCop, thanks for the follow. All right, that's been 3 hours. So we're now going to do the last match, which I guess we'll just do Clover again. Why not? Full Clover stream. If we had just hit like a new rank and we had nowhere to go, like we couldn't fall with a loss. At that point, I would be down to just play some random nonsense out of my pile of decks.
We need to become Aaron Girdler tonight.
But
chat.
we'll just do
That's
one more
the goal.
Clover here. Dihimono, thanks for the follow. Double escape is awkward, but happy enough with the rest of the hand. It's possible that's worse than the average 6. But people have been running a lot of Dovin's vetoes against us today. And if Dovin's veto is like a 2 or 3 of the main deck of all these Bant ramp decks, I don't mind having escapes. Just please be Bant and not Sultai, please. And not Wreck, by the way. I haven't seen Wreck yet, but I prefer not to see it at all. Preferably. Okay, so the order of operations here is first you shock in the Steam Vents, then you attack with the Innkeeper, and then in case they're Blue Rain Flash and they have Brineborn Cutthroat, you've got to Stomp up. Otherwise, you just play this to make sure you're hitting your land drops on time, so you can actually cast these escapes. Tammy's pet deck is also Temur Clover, although she's a big fan of Clover Knights, too. Ascending. 3 nights a week. That's actually a great chance. So if y'all are coming into the stream, you don't know my schedule yet. I stream 3 nights a week. Tuesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays at 6 p.m. PST, usually for 3 hours, or a little more or a little less. Thanks, Ascending. We do have fun around here. I do love the Brazen Borrower Uro decks that are choosing not to fill their graveyard as fast as they could be. Are we Bant? Are we blue-green? Ooh. Whoa!
Whoa!
This card is so bad with Uro. This card is so bad with Uro.
Wait, what?
What the heck? All right.
Wait, how?
So because we have the Of One Mind in hand, I'm just going to play Innkeeper and do some stomping this turn, is the plan. I actually think I'm not attacking with Fae of Wishes, because I would prefer the opponent, if they have a Nissa, not attack me. I don't think we're winning this game with aggro. Okay, yep. Sure.
Wait, what?
Okay, I mean, this is a combo. Bag of Holding is basically a 1-mana artifact that they can pay 4 and sack it to get all the cards they've discarded back to their hand, which means in combination with Tef Master of Time, they get to discard a lot of cards. So it basically turns Tef's plus into a draw 1 card, kind of. But it's also super loose. Alright, so plan here is just to go Of One Mind and probably to stomp the Tefs. They don't get to do as much of this combo here. Yeah, sure. Good news is also they probably can't kill an Edgewell Innkeeper in their whole deck. Probably not. So we are going to take lots of advantage of that. Still worried about Nissa, so I'm just going to hit the Tef here. Even if they plus, I kill it with the other Stomp. Yeah, the fact that their Uro never comes out is just incredible for us. Also, having 3 Escape to Wilds looks pretty great if they don't have Nissa next turn. This is incredibly cute. Like, I'm really happy we're seeing this as the last game of the day because it's really cute. It also seems just absolutely atrociously bad. So if they don't have Nissa next turn, we just start casting Escape to Wilds and they're dead. If they do have Nissa, we might need to defend ourselves with Bone Crusher Giants and things get a little bit more dramatic. But at this point, they can't even really keep a Tef alive for any appreciable amount of time. It is cool, though. This is something you could do in a different looking standard environment. Yeah. Fun fact is that if I ever draw a Brazen Borrower, I can just send this back to their hand and then all the cards under it disappear. That's a fun fact. Is that a fun fact for you, Tammy?
It was a fun fact.
Yeah.
I'm still shook that they played it at all.
Teferi is one of the many reasons you don't play this card. Brazen Borrower is another reason. Looks like they do have some Mystical Disputes in the deck, so we've been warned.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. Alright, so now it's just easy Bone Crusher Giant.
Play the Bone Crusher Giant first. See?
Fine, I'm a big lazy bum, Tammy. A big lazy bum. Here I come attacking. So if they sack this, do I care about them spending their whole turn to get their stuff back? No, I don't think I do. I'm not going to bounce it yet. I'm going to wait for them to loot one more time with it and then bounce it. Or maybe they'll play like Thirst for Meaning or something here and then I can bounce the bag. No, the card's exiled. I'm pretty sure the cards don't like accrue to the bag automatically. Like, I don't think that's how it works. Alright. I should not have attacked with Fae of Wishes here. If they play Brazen Borrower, I'm like mildly sad. Actually kind of sad because that makes Nissa much more annoying. So that was a mistake. Shouldn't have attacked with a Fae. Taking my medicine, as I deserve. Technically, I could just counter the Brazen Borrower here.
We need to become Aaron Gertler tonight, chat. That's the goal.
Okay, so if I borrow them, they do get to just sack the bag to counter it, but then they're tapping out of having Mystical Dispute for Escape to the Wilds. So I still think I take that trade. Like, go ahead and sack this Bag of Holding, whatever. Shalo Hayes, 33, thanks for the follow. This is a little lazy, though. I should probably have just bounced the bag after they cast the borrow, and I shouldn't have attacked with Fae Wishes. So, certainly getting a little loose here after 3+ hours. Jeepers Creepers. Okay. Welp.
They really want to keep
They
their
really want to
bag.
keep this bag, and now I really want to bounce it. God, do I want to bounce it. Sadly, it's not happening yet. Alright, well I've got the Fae of Wishes up. I do need to like kind of watch myself around these Brazen Borrowers a little bit. Like, the opponent could just bounce my Fae of Wishes with, I guess, Sublime Epiphany or another Brazen Borrower. So I do need to be watchful for that. But if they do bounce Fae, I now have access to... So they could sack Bag of Holding and then get their Brazen Borrower back and then bounce my Fae and put me to 3? At which point I can just wish for Storm's Wrath, but that would leave me dead to Nissa, so... I'm wishing I had Blazing Volley back in my sideboard. This is going to be interesting. We might kind of get punked out because of that one attack with the Fae. They can't quick get Uro back yet. Okay, it's really happening. This is really happening to me. Oh, now they can get Uro back. Goodness. I'm just going to completely, like, die accidentally?
No, Aaron.
I don't think I can afford to cast Escape here. I think I just need to play Fae first. They're going to have 3 3/1s attacking me. So I need some combination of, like, Clovers and additional Faes and Borrowers and stuff. If I jam Escape, I only have 4 to 5 mana left over after that, which actually isn't enough to stop all 3 Borrowers. I can't get Storm's Wrath because I just killed by the other borrower, so I need to cast Fae here. What a weird game. Okay, Clover's good. Clover's very good. It's not enough by itself, but it does mean I can go for Clover into Lovestruck into another spell there. So I'm going to run out this Lovestruck Beast. And need to hit a Bone Crusher or a Borrower here. Nope, I'm dead. Okay, well, that's sad. Sorry, Danny, to disappoint.
You could have not shocked in the land.
It wouldn't have mattered, boo. Needed the defense there. Alright, so our opponent is apparently doing Sublime Epiphany and Bag of Holding. And they're very aggressive with Brazen Borrower. So the big punt there was like not attacking with Fey Wishes. If I hadn't attacked with Fey Wishes, I could have just cast Escape to the Wilds that turn. It would have been safe to do that. And then I would have had many more options. But yeah, apparently the opponent's just on 4 Brazen Borrower. And this is a good example of how playing a little bit loose can get you super punished if your opponent's doing something you're not familiar with. Do I want a gate? Do I want any counters? I kind of don't. I feel like... So the thing is, to be playing what our opponent's playing, they have to be excluding some stuff. Like, they're not playing Bant, they don't have sweepers or anything. I don't even know if they have Nissa. They must have Nissa. Sublime Epiphany. Good lord. Yes, let's run it back and not punt. That's my current plan here. But if Sedakozo beats me, Sedakozo absolutely deserves it way more than I do here. But it's alright, we're doing it for the memories. We'll get to Mythic at some point this season. Sedakozo. My word. And now the throws, I'm just like worried, like, good, maybe this person's just about to board in 4 wilts, and I'll just never have a Clover the whole game. Did I even have a Clover that game? I guess I drew one near the end. Okay, so here, I'm ready, I'm vigilant. Watchful of getting killed by Brazen Borrower beats. No. Okay. I am just going to play this hand as aggressively as I can. And yeah, I should have just also, I guess, I mean, I did not see Sublime Epiphany coming. Had I seen Sublime Epiphany coming, many things would have been different about the way I played that game. Okay, so we're going to be looking for a land off the Temple of Abandon here. Nope, not you. One thing I might do with this deck at some point is just turn Growth Spiral into 28th land. I feel like I'm often really ambivalent about whether I want... I feel like I had more hands that like would be much better with a land than Growth Spiral. Alright. Jor-Rail deck makes a lot of sense given we've seen so far. Not drawing a 3rd land makes a lot of sense based on just the feeling I had about this game. But fortunately we can clean that up. We are definitely playing Gruul Adventures now. Okay. Yeah, Bag of Holding plus Jor-Rail is actually kind of cool. I can dig it. There we go. Nice, nice, nice. Let's kill them. No messing around. I am here for blood today.
I was half expecting Spectral to say, like, who knows, Aaron?
It draws cards. Alright, so now at this point I am kind of expecting Shark Typhoon, so we're going to be a little bit watchful around in that one. But Shark Typhoon, we just bounce a Shark token, and then I play Clover, which is fine by me, so I'm just gonna attack with everything. I'm not that worried about Sharks. I guess if they make a 1/1 Shark and they have Mystical Dispute to back it up. Nightpack Ambusher. Yeah, no, don't care. Go away. I'm past the point of being like at all surprised by anything I see of my opponent's deck here. I'm just like in a state of true neutrality with everything that happens. Speaking of which...
What the heck? What is that?
Here, I'll show it to you. Tammy has never seen this card before.
This is my first day playing it. Oh, I remember this.
It's
It's
pretty good here.
It's the new 6/6 that does a bunch of stuff.
It's the new 6/6 that does a bunch of stuff, yes. And whenever it blocks, too, which is very annoying. Darn, I really want to cast Of One Mind here. And just, like, play a Lovestruck Beast, and if they attack with the Gargaroth, I'll just double block it. But what if they have Sublime Epiphany and they copy it, chat? If I hit it, if I just bounce it, they go to 4 life? God. I'm Of One Minding. Let's do this. That's really good. Okay. Okay.
It's like the best draw you could.
This went very well. Yeah, so we could have drawn Island. I also could have drawn Beanstalk Giant. I had a lot of draws there that would have worked out just fine. And now Mr. Elder Gargaroth goes away, and if my opponent just recasts it, next turn I kill them with Fling. Continues to be adorable. I guess I could just get Domri's Ambush too. Let's get Domri's Ambush. Okay, opponent knew they were dead. Alright, so Elder Gargaroth is a thing I do not want to see copied with Sublime Epiphany. There's a sentence I didn't expect to say in a standard game until after rotation. Given that they've got the Gargs and the Jorail and the Nightpack Ambusher, I guess I want Ether Gust in my deck. Definitely want all the interaction I can get. Possibly Escape to the Wilds should go if I'm treating this like it's Blue-Green Flash. I don't know if I'm treating this like it's Blue-Green Flash. Yeah, I'm going to cut and Escape and bring in Disdainful Stroke, I think, because it hits Ambusher, Gargaroth, and Sublime Epiphany. Try it like that. Feels great, Jason. Feels great. Yeah, Spiral might have been a fine... Stop it. Stop scaring me like this. This is probably fine. I feel like the fundamentals of this matchup should be very strong. But anything can happen in a game of Magic. I mean, I personally am just feeling more and more frazzled as this game goes on. Oh, no Borrower for the Clover? Don't mind that. Blast Zone. Wilt? Wilt the Stilt. Alright. Alright, well, I'm here to attack. Yeah, D-Law, you see what I mean when I just say I really wish the Growth Spiral was a 28th land sometimes. Or Adventurous Impulse would be a thing I could also do. Alright, well, this is actually looking kind of good. Opponent's going to need to do something to respond to the 2 Bone Crusher Giants hitting them in the face, and whatever that something is, I can probably sneak and escape around it. If they just play Elder Gargaroth, I'm in trouble. These sentences I keep saying. Okay, it wasn't Elder Gargaroth. It's all good. Let's just keep hitting them. And I'm just jamming Escape here. If they have a counter, it's fine. If they have a Nightpick Ambusher, which is the thing I'm actually scared of, then they've got to choose between countering the Escape and actually ambushing me. And that one resolved. Okay, so then Temple. I really value the Scry here. Looking for somebody who can stop a Nightpack Ambusher. Not that. We've got a game on our hands. We've got a game on our hands, I regret to inform you. Yes, no rewind in a wolf, definitely a good thing. Alright, how badly do you want to stop this Clover, opponent? A lot of Beanstalk Giants might do the trick too. They didn't want to stop that Clover too badly. Alright. Well, we're going to get all the lands out of my deck this turn, which means that Fae of Wishes will become extremely good forever. That's a starting point. I guess I could go for... Actually, it does make more sense just to go for Lovestruck into... like tokens Lovestruck this turn. I'm going to keep hitting them because we're moving into the late game. And if they counter the part of the Lovestruck that makes a creature, I can just Beanstalk Giant, it's fine. Doesn't look like it. But it's going to be close. Okay, that's not good. Glad we have this Lovestruck Beast, but double Ambusher is going to be hard to stop if they have counters backing them up. Really have no idea what they're playing. Oof. Okay. Yes, this is just going to be thin the deck of all the lands and play a Beanstalk Giant this turn. The good news is I can go Beanstalk Giant now into 2 Beanstalk Giants next turn, and that's going to be... A, getting all the lands out of my deck is great. B, Nightpack Ambusher does have a hard time attacking through a sufficient number of Beanstalk Giants. But they got 5 spells in hand, so I think we're not favored at all here. Really strongly suspect we're not favored at all here. Once they get to Sublime Epiphany, if they have a Sublime Epiphany in hand, they can get 6 mana for it. At that point, we're almost locked out of the game, because they can stop both Fae and the copied Fae. Not surprising to see that either. Okay, Sublime Epiphany is now live. It's a live card. They can copy a Nightpack Ambusher with it. Okay, but that was the card we wanted, so I would love to bait them, ideally, with a Beanstalk Giant here. And then, if this gets, like, Sublime Epiphany, and I can kind of mess
We
the board
need
up a
to
lot.
become Aaron Gertler tonight, chat. That's the goal.
Can I afford to attack with any Beanstalks?
What did you wish first?
I kind of want to see if this provokes a reaction of some kind, like a Brazen Borrower. I'll attack with 1 Beanstalk Giant, that's safe. You've got to at least give up 1 wolf for that. And then second Beanstalk Giant, I don't... So Sublime Epiphany counters Beanstalk Giant, makes another Nightpack Ambusher, bounces my Beanstalk Giant. But Sublime Epiphany also counters all of Fae of Wishes at once. So there's not really any getting around Sublime Epiphany. So I guess given that there's no getting around Sublime Epiphany, would I rather just do Fae of Wishes than Giant here? If Giant just gets regular countered, I can still tolerate that. If it gets bounced, that's also fine. Yeah, Zweckard Dog, I feel like that's probably what's happening. Blobfish, thanks for the follow. Alright, whatever. Hit me. I'm ready. I'm ready. They're choosing a lot of targets. Yeah, so we just kind of mold into no action there, sadly. Well, no action. We need an Innkeeper. That's what we needed here. Or a Borrower. Yep. Sublime, I'm scooping to Sublime. I know I'm dead to it. It's just too much power going onto the board for them. I am dead to it, right? That makes... Yeah, because all the wolves will be 5/5s and I'll have another Ambusher I need to block, which means I'm dead to Sublime Epiphany for sure. Here we go. Yep, there it is. Good games, opponent. Alright, so should have won game 1, but respect. The Ambushers, it looked like a pretty cool flash list. Bag of Holding Teferi is quite the thing. Do I have to build this now? I have been liking Elder Gargaroth as just being like the green Baneslayer Angel. It's a really nice card to bring in against aggro in your blue-green decks. I think it's garbage against Clover, but I do think that it's a reasonable thing for Flash or blue-green Jarail or whatever you would call it my opponent was doing there. That was confusing.
That felt like 3 different.
It was definitely 3 very different kinds of games there. Let's see if we can approximate whatever the hell they were doing. I'm going to choose to believe they're playing exactly 2 copies of Sublime Epiphany. What else did we see? Elder Gargoth was a sideboard card, I assume. We saw Mystical Dispute in game 1. We saw all the borrowers in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing traditional about this standard deck. If they're on Nightbeck Embusher, would I assume they were on Frilled Mystic too? Uro was in the deck, yes. Uro and Bag of Holding, classic combination. Probably 26 lands. We didn't actually see Spectral Sailor. There was Gargaroth in the sideboard, I'm choosing to assume. Maybe it was just the main. We didn't see any Nissas, notably. We didn't see a single Nissa there. There must be some Krasis, although maybe Sublime Epiphany just is their Krasis. Didn't really see any counters besides Dispute, I don't think. So weird. All right, well, we're not gonna find the secrets here. I will throw some Elder Gargaroth in the sideboard, where I assume they live. Sharks, right? There were 4 Shark Typhoon. Let's just presume there were 4 Shark Typhoon here. And maybe a couple Frilled Mystic. I like Frilled Mystic. It doesn't actually work with Sublime Epiphany, sadly. Maybe some Neutralize, some Quench. It's probably honestly just another Teferi Master of Time. From the land standpoint, I'm assuming they're just on the usual configuration. Yeah, good night, everybody. By the way, that was the last match. I'm sort of like doing this obsessive thing on stream, but actually, let's raid somebody. This is my best guess for the main deck, plus some other card. Congrats, it looked sweet. I still don't know that Sublime Epiphany works in a format where most decks are playing for Mystical Dispute between main and side, but I certainly wasn't, and it did get me. So we're gonna now go and raid someone. Let's see who's playing, Tammy. Who should we raid? Well, that's a limited.
No, you can raid Nessa.
All right, let's raid. Nessa's still playing. We'll definitely raid Nessa then. So we're going to go do that now. Thanks, everybody, for watching.
We need to
come back on
become
Tuesday
Aaron
night, 6
Gertler
p.m.
tonight,
BST.
That's the goal.
For even more Temur Clover action. And thank you, FM Dirk, for the follow. Raid's going to start up here in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hit him with the emotes, folks. What the hell was that deck? I'll play the 3rd Sublime Epiphany, why not? This curve actually looks pretty chunky. This curve probably shouldn't be so chunky. Jam some opts in here.